Chapter 255. In the manor. The camera was pointed out of the floor-to-ceiling window, clearly capturing the private jet hovering at a low altitude. The propellers spun as the jet slowly descended to the ground. It was a pink plane with rabbit ears painted in white in front of the cockpit. There was also a line of English letters on the fuselage rabbit. There was an uproar in the live stream. "I'm getting goosebumps. Is this the daily life of Ms. Perfect? Rabbit. Tutu flight? Tutu is on Tutu flight, she's so cute. Ha 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 ha, our sister Yi's face slapping may be late, but she'll never miss it." Someone uploaded the Weibo post about the flight route application to the live stream. After Lee Jianyu saw it, he was a little curious and couldn't help but ask, "Sister Yi, don't you have to apply for a flight route for a plane? Can your Tutu flight fly to France?" "Xiangyi, Uncle Butler is in charge of this. It seems that he has to apply for a flight route and airspace in one go. Then, regardless of whether he's flying or not, he will send out a flight plan every day. That way, he can fly whenever he wants." However, apart from the annual family trip, she didn't usually use the Tutu flight. The netizens in the live stream, got it. Where do you get the plane? A friendly reminder, of course you can fly if you want, but the flight route costs money. So does the plane maintenance and fuel. This trip is much more expensive than a plane ticket. I just checked, the Tutu flight model costs about 100 million yuan. After buying the plane, you'll have to hire a pilot and crew, as well as maintenance and service personnel. In other words, you'll have to be able to afford the plane and the crew too. On Weibo, All Is Well Year was immediately mocked. Looking at the mocking comments made by the netizens, she was so angry that she smashed her phone. She had liked Shui for so long and had done so much for her, but why did Shui have to let her down? Originally, she felt a sense of superiority when compared with Xiangyi. She was just a female celebrity. How could a variety star who was hated by everyone on the internet compare to her? However, with the popularity of Two Under One Roof, she gradually realized how outstanding Xiangyi was. A strong sense of crisis enveloped All Is Well year round. She couldn't accept this reality. Maybe it was just that Shui didn't see her. If he had seen her, perhaps everything would have been different. Paranoid thoughts continued to linger in her mind. She picked up the phone that had a crack on the screen and slowly typed. At 9 o'clock, the live broadcast ended. Xiangyi had already packed her luggage in advance. She didn't bring too many things with her as it would only take her 3 days to complete the shoot. She made a video call to her fourth brother, Xiongyu. Xiongyu stared straight at Xiao Naofu, his Adam's apple bobbing up and down. "Xiao Naofu, live well with fourth brother for the next 3 days." The girl wanted to kiss it, but the little cat dodged. Xiao Naofu was extremely aggrieved. "Meow tilde, this who wants to go too. The plane will vibrate violently when it takes off and lands. You might feel very uncomfortable, or even get sick." Xiao Naofu's pointed cat ears drooped as it leaned on her shoulder sullenly. "Fourth brother will take good care of you. Hey, do you remember him?" Xiao Naofu glanced at the esports guru in the video. "Meow." On the other end of the video call, Xiongyu seemed very calm, but his heart was in turmoil. It's meowing at me." Chapter 256. Xiongyu cleared his throat. Sis, don't worry." Xiangyi reluctantly put Xiao Naofu into the cat bag and handed it to Lee Jianyu. As for why Lee Jianyu was chosen, it all started from the time when Smog's cat fetish was seen by the entire internet and caused a social disaster. The fans of Two Under One Roof requested that the production crew go to the Logic Team's base to film a follow-up. Lee Jianyu obtained permission and took the opportunity to bring the cameraman there for a short live stream. While the Tutu was soaring in the starry sky. In the villa area of Nancheng, Logic's esports base was still brightly lit. After a round of APM hand speed training, the team manager clapped his hands and said loudly, "The takeout has arrived. Everyone, take a break. It just so happens that the crew of Two Under One Roof is also here. Let's do a short live stream." "Oh, Xiao Naofu is here?" Captain Wanda's eyes lit up, and the other guys had similar reactions. The calmest one was Xiongyu. The team manager laughed and said, "Yes, our Simu Ji's little wife is here tilde ever since Xiongyu's cat fetish last time, everyone had joked that Xiao Naofu was his little wife. Xiong Yu walked out of the training room coldly. In the spacious living room, Li Jianyu and the others had finished adjusting the equipment and happened to film Xiong Yu. The livestream room was bustling with noise and excitement. Ah, it's Simu-ji. Look at you guys calling him Simu-ji so much. I can't remember his English name anymore. Big Brother looks so cool in black. Who would have thought that Big Brother was a cat fetish maniac? The cat bag was placed on the ground and Li Jianyu unzipped it. Xiao Naofu stuck out half of its head cutely. Its pointy cat ears trembled and its clear sapphire-like eyes stared straight at Xiong Yu. The young esports god paused for 2 seconds before walking over with one hand in his pocket. He looked down at the soft white cat condescendingly. Xiao Naofu, listen to me. Nothing can be accomplished without rules. Kittens should behave like kittens. First, eat at a designated place and don't climb onto the table. Second, sleep in your own nest and don't climb onto the bed. Third, every player here is busy. Don't disturb your brothers during training. Fourth. After a dozen or so lines, Xiong Yu finally stopped and asked coldly, have you memorized them? Xiao Naofu meowed obediently. Meow tilde, I know. In fact, Xiao Naofu's inner thoughts were, a poop picker dares to talk so much to this who? Do you believe that this whose most smelly poop will suffocate you to death? Little did it know that its childish cry had accurately hit Xiong Chi's heart. Oh tilde it tilde is tilde so tilde lovely tilde are tilde. The next second, Xiao Naofu nimbly jumped onto the dining chair, and with a second jump, landed on the dining table. Its meaty little paws scratched the plastic bag containing the takeout twice, sniffed it curiously, and pushed it away in disgust. TSK tilde, it's not even 1/10,000th of the food made by that stupid woman. It sat down on the dining table and tilted its head to look up at Yu Sheng. Li Jianyu, smog, Xiao Naofu is too naughty. How about we chase it down? Xiong Yu's expression didn't change. He picked up the takeout bag and righteously said, I haven't had time to buy it a cat tree. This dining table will be its cat tree. Li Jianyu. Xiong Yu raised his eyebrows and looked at his teammates. Hey, what are you looking at? Do we have to eat at the dining table? His teammates. Who the hell are you setting these rules for? I'm so tired that I'm running a low fever. I'm going to take a nap and write again. Everyone can come back tomorrow. I'll make it up to you when I'm done. Clasped hands. Chapter 257. 2 minutes later. In the esports base, a group of young boys held lunchboxes and sat cross-legged, sullen. They sat on the ground next to the dining table. Xiao Naofu occupied the entire table with an open can of luxurious meat, a bowl of warm goat milk, and a few small dried fish in front of it. In the livestream, as expected of Simu-ji, his cat-slave nature has been exposed. Xiao Naofu, I heard you're going to set rules for me. Where are the rules? Ha 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 ha. I'm laughing so hard that the geese in the yard are squawking with me. Some netizens also argued, am I the only one who thinks there's something wrong with Xiong Yu? Cats are just animals. Why should they be allowed to sit on the dining table? That's right. Don't tell me the other contestants don't mind. He's too selfish. He doesn't care about other people's feelings at all. At this moment, Xiao Naofu was scalded by the goat milk and meowed in a coquettish voice, sounding extremely aggrieved. In an instant, Captain Wanda stood up and scooted over. Oh, did you scalded our little baby? Come on, have some canned food first. Let's blow on the goat milk under the air conditioner. Netizens, huh? The medic, Shui, knocked on the lunchbox with his chopsticks and said angrily, Smog, is this how you take care of Xiao Naofu? If you can't do it, let me do it. Netizens. Mage Xiao Naofu bent over the edge of the table and stared at the little cat. Xiao Naofu, Simu-ji is a scumbag. Why don't you sleep at my place tonight? I'll warm your cat bed. Netizens. Xiong Yu was speechless. Hey, stay away from it. Don't scare it. He picked up a small dried fish and fed it to Xiao Naofu's mouth. Xiao Naofu took a bite and then rubbed its head against his palm, meowing softly. Meow tilde Xiong Yu asked uncertainly, do you want a hug? Meow. The young esports god suppressed his excitement and pretended to pick up the little cat nonchalantly. It was the standard posture of holding a child. Xiao Naofu nestled in his arms, nibbling on dried fish as it rubbed against Yu. The young man's t-shirt was pulled down quite a bit, revealing his clean and distinct collarbone. Meow tilde, the kitten was so obedient that it seemed to be saying, "I love my brother the most." Xiongyu raised his chin slightly and looked around provocatively. "I'm sorry, but this is my cat. Please don't think about it." His teammates. "Look at how smug you are. Was it a big deal to have a cat? Woo woo woo, this despicable cat's chosen son." Seeing this scene, the netizens laughed like crazy. Xiao Naofu is really spoiled. Shocking. Team Logic's rage was actually for Green Tea Axe. Director Lee, you're in charge of sending me to the base. Leave the rest to me. There's no man I can't handle. 2:00 in the morning. After the training room ended, the contestants returned to their rooms to rest. The dormitory was a two-person room. Wanda and Xiongyu were roommates. The cat bed next to the bed was empty. Xiongyu's gaze shifted to the bed. The little cat was lying in the middle of the bed with its head facing up, revealing its soft and round belly. It was snoring softly and sleeping soundly. Wanda fanned the flames. Look, Xiao Naofu isn't obedient at all. Not only is it climbing the bed, but it's also snoring. It's too much. The next second, Xiongyu shot him a sharp look and said in a low voice, "Keep your voice down. Don't disturb Fufu's sleep." Wanda. Chapter 258. It must be because the cat bed is too small. I'll sleep on the bed then. Xiongyu walked towards his captain's bed and said, "I'll sleep in your bed tonight. You can go next door and squeeze with someone else." "Why?" "Because I don't like to sleep with others," he said coldly. Wanda was speechless. Listen, is that even human language? Meanwhile, All Is Well Year Round posted a message on Weibo in the middle of the night, expressing her intention to commit suicide. All is well year round. You guys have no idea how rare it is for a person who has been in the dark for a long time to have a ray of light. Now that my world is shrouded in darkness again, perhaps it's time to end all this pain. When the netizens who were surfing late at night saw this, they quickly rushed to comfort her. Sisters, don't let your imagination run wild. You're the cutest. Are you hungry? I'll order you some supper, okay? Are you suffering from depression? Oh my God, hurry up and see a doctor. All is well year round, replied a few of the comments, full of dejection. I hate myself like this. Maybe she's the most suitable for him. But I'm still so worried about him. I'm worried that he'll have a hard time. I've doted on him for so long, I can't bear to see him suffer even a little. She posted a picture, which showed the city Shui and Xiangyi were going to. Due to the recent food festival, all the hotels were packed to the brim. After being incited by her, the fans immediately got angry again. They can't even book the plane tickets. Can that be *tch book a hotel? The thought of Xiongyu taking a 10-hour flight to a foreign country without even a hotel to stay in. Is he going to sleep on the floor at the airport? I also heard the news from Xingchen Entertainment. The vase fairy even took the initiative to ask to be Shisui's assistant. Xiongyu didn't reject her out of courtesy at that time. She wouldn't take advantage of Xiongyu's gentleness to hurt him so recklessly, would she? After a night, the netizens who woke up early habitually opened Weibo. The name All Is Well Year Round was on the hot search list, so many people clicked on it. When they saw her post on Weibo and the strange imagination in the comments, everyone was dumbfounded. Xiao Hua was an office worker and wasn't very interested in chasing after celebrities. After watching Two Under One Roof for 2 days, she had a good impression of Xiangyi and couldn't help but type sad smiley. Even if you can't book a hotel, you can still sleep on the plane. Aren't you guys thinking too much? Unexpectedly, the moment this comment was posted, it was called out by All Is Well Year Round. He deserves all the good in the world. You don't know anything. Smile, with just a few sentences, he successfully set the pace. Soon, Xiao Hua was scolded by his fans. The vase fairy's whitewashing dog? Don't bother, she won't be able to clear her name. You can leave now. Why should our brother suffer because of her? who asked her to say that she wanted to be our brother's assistant. In the beginning, Little Blossom tried to reason with them, but he realized that these people wouldn't listen at all. After being scolded for a long time, Xiao Hua was very depressed and felt that her good mood for the day had been ruined. She was really speechless about the behavior of all is well year-round that led to online violence. In the next second, she received a message from her best friend who was studying abroad. "I'm shocked. I saw a private jet landing on the top floor of the Atlanta Hotel on my way to school. It's the super expensive 7-star hotel that I complained to you about last time. Poverty has really limited my imagination." Chapter 259. There were still a few more stops before the train arrived. Xiao Hua and her best friend began chatting enthusiastically. Little Fafa, Little Fafa, the hotel where the cheapest room during off-season costs a few thousand yuan. All the rooms are 2-story suites, and the paintings on the walls are authentic. I love hot pot, yes. There are royal suites, presidential suites, and so on. It's just like the Mary Sue TV series we used to watch. There are butlers, chefs, and waiters. I love hot pot, woo woo. This plane even has rabbit ears. It looks so good. Sister, quickly become a rich woman and keep me. I want a pink plane too. I love hot pot, picture, so cute. Xiao Hua sighed. She swiped her finger to select an emoji pack. Suddenly, she thought of something and clicked on the picture sent by her best friend. She zoomed in, and the English letters on the plane came into view. Rabbit. Tutu flight? Isn't that the private plane that Xiangyi and Shi Yingdi took? Xiao Hua, exclamation point. She switched to her Weibo page and posted the picture in the comments section of All is Well Year Round. She then imitated the sarcastic tone with the caption sad smiley no way, right? Do you guys only know how to choose 4-star and 5-star hotels? Hihi, have you guys forgotten that there's the only 7-star hotel in the world in a city? The top floor of the hotel has its own helipad, a revolving restaurant in the sky, an underground ocean tunnel connected to a seafood restaurant, and a submarine to pick you up. This is how simple the life of a rich and beautiful girl is. Doghead. The caption was a picture of the Tutu flight landing on the top floor of the hotel. After the comment was posted. 7-star hotel? What are you making up? Haha. F***CK. I checked, there really is such a hotel. A 6-figure presidential suite has just been booked. The fans were dumbfounded. Even All is Well Year Round pretended not to reply. We have arrived at North City West Station. Passengers, please take your belongings with you and exit from the left door. The announcement of the arrival of the train sounded, and Xiao Hua got off the train feeling refreshed. It felt so good to be slapped in the face. She lowered her head and followed Xiangyi's Weibo, a happy smile on her face. Inside the suite. Xiangyi took a nap on the plane, so she wasn't very sleepy now. She took out her phone and reported to her family. Third brother replied instantly, I've already prepared the little dress you'll be using for the photo shoot. See you at the castle tomorrow. The castle was the filming location for the next day. Xiongqi's studio was here. After flying over the night before, he was full of inspiration and rushed out 3 sets of dresses with a dozen assistants. The magazine was already giving him face. When they heard that he had designed 3 new sets, they were extremely excited. This was Hades's return to the fashion industry after a year of absence. Therefore, the magazine immediately decided to use Hades's work for the cover. Her fourth brother, Xiongyu, quickly replied as well. In addition to reminding her, he also sent a 9-page grid of Xiao Naofu, as well as numerous short videos. Xiangyi sighed as she watched Xiao Naofu eat until its belly was round and the fur on its head was flat. She wondered if Xiao Naofu would become as fat as a pig or go bald first in fourth brother's hands. Her second brother didn't reply, probably because he was busy. However, her little uncle gave her a video call. Little Xiangyi, little Chen is also in a city. After you're done with the cover shoot, do you want to meet him? Chapter 260. She was now in the same city as Big Brother. Xiangyi was a little dumbfounded. Little Chen has a sharp tongue. Xiong Feng paused for a moment before continuing. He has a sharp tongue and a heart like a meat grinder, but at least he has some dignity in front of you. Don't be afraid, Uncle will support you. Xiangyi, uncle, do you dare to go with me? Xiong Feng, he didn't dare. Hello. Hello, the signal is not good, I'm hanging up. The video call ended. The little girl sighed and sat on the sofa in the living room, hugging her knees helplessly. Of course she wanted to see Big Brother and resolve the misunderstanding with him, but she was afraid of him to begin with, and now she had no idea what that person was doing to Big Brother. The unknown was the most frightening. After all, Big Brother was a big devil who grew up beating his little brother's uncle. Not to mention other things, his fighting strength was really fierce. When she was bullied in kindergarten, she first complained to fourth brother, who then went to third brother, and then second brother. In the end, the four of them were bullied together. In short, it was an act of suicide. It was as tragic as it could be. In the end, it was Big Brother who descended from the sky and single-handedly destroyed the other party. Without a word, he coldly led his little brother and sister home. What are you thinking about? You keep sighing. The man's deep and magnetic voice sounded in her ear, with an inexplicable flirtatious tone. Xiangyi raised her head and looked at Shui with bright eyes. If there was only one person in the world who wasn't afraid of Big Brother, then wasn't it? So far away but so close. Xiangyi looked up. Shui was calm and unruffled. Do you want to have a meal with Big Brother and catch up? I remember that you two are quite close. Shui let out a long "oh." You're afraid of Sang Chen? What should I do? I'm a little scared too. Ah, forget it then. But if you go with our sister Yi, I won't be afraid. Shui had a faint smile on her face, and her eyes were filled with gentleness. Xiangyi jumped off the sofa in surprise. You're too nice. The corners of Shui's lips curled up when she saw how happy the little girl was. The two of them had lunch at a seafood restaurant under the sea. The glass separated the clear blue sea water, surrounded by corals, and all kinds of sea creatures shuttled back and forth. It was romantic like a scene from a fairy tale. The dishes tasted good, especially the appetizer. Xiangyi tasted a unique aroma. She murmured uncertainly, sea vision? It was a kind of seaweed that she had seen in a world where medical science was very advanced. It couldn't be eaten directly, but it could be used as a spice after being processed. Most importantly, it had medicinal value. Therefore, when the head chef came out to communicate with the guests, Xiangyi asked him what the unique aroma in the dish was. Hearing her calmly report the names of the ingredients and spices used, and even the cooking method, the head chef's eyes widened in shock. What kind of magical taste was this? She could actually know so much just by tasting it. However, an excellent head chef wasn't stingy with making the recipe public. As it turned out, a real top-notch restaurant couldn't imitate the same taste even if they strictly followed the recipe. Thank you for your generosity. Xiangyi thanked him politely and immediately sent the name of the seaweed that the head chef mentioned to Lu Jingji. This might be a major discovery in the field of medicine. Chapter 261. After Xiangyi sent the message, she realized that she had been neglecting Shui. His gaze was gentle and innocent, as if he wouldn't mind whatever she did. However, the more he acted this way, the more Xiangyi blamed herself. Sorry, I didn't mean to ignore you, Shui chuckled, as if ripples had appeared on a calm lake. I think it's okay even if we don't talk when we're together, Sister Yi. On this point, Xiangyi agreed with him. Xiangyi sighed in her heart. Shui was really easy to get along with. He wasn't picky about food and had a good temper. The two of them could talk for a long time on the same topic, or they could do their own things without talking for a long time. However, they got along very naturally. There was no awkwardness at all. Shall we go back to the hotel? I saw that you didn't sleep much on the plane. Do you want to catch up on some sleep? Shui nodded slightly. Xiangyi got up and took 2 steps forward. Suddenly, Shui stopped her. Sister Yi, wait a minute. Hair. The girl looked back. Her hair brushed past his chin, causing a feather-like itch. Can we take a picture together? Shui asked. Okay, then I'll stand a little further away. This way, I can help your legs grow longer. Shui couldn't help but laugh. He seemed a little helpless. He bent his fingers and pushed his gold-rimmed glasses up his nose. Let's take a picture together. Huh. Oh. Xiang Yi handed the phone to the shop assistant and stood beside him. The enthusiastic shop assistant said in English, "Closer, you can come closer." Xiang Yi was still hesitating. Shi Sui naturally put his arm around her shoulders and pulled her closer to him. The girl bumped into his arms, looking a little helpless. However, the shop assistant had already pressed the button to take a picture. Catcher. He took a few pictures and returned the phone to Xiang Yi. The two of them were so good-looking that they looked good. Send it to you? Yes. Xiang Yi opened Shi Sui's WeChat and saw the word Zai appear in front of Shi Sui. Xiang Yi. Public execution was the most merciless. I'll change it right now. Xiang Yi pretended to be calm and typed in the pinyin of Shi Sui. The first word that popped up was Shi Sui. She was about to delete it when she heard Shi Sui say, "Let's do this." Ah, but aren't only your girlfriends and wife fans the only ones who call you that? Shi Sui's eyes flickered slightly. Her expression was lazy. She drawled, "Is that so? I thought you called him that to make him look younger." This logic didn't seem to be wrong either. Do men also care about their age? Thinking of this, Xiang Yi suddenly understood. Shi Sui is having a midlife crisis. In order to take care of his sensitive feelings, Xiang Yi set his nickname to Shi Sui and even comforted him. "You're very young, to begin with." She lowered her head and did not notice that the man's eyes were filled with a triumphant smile. When they returned to the hotel, the magazine sent a staff member to pick them up. The creative director briefly talked to them about the proposal for the next day's shoot, The Princess and the Vampire. For this proposal, we want to create a vintage and luxurious vibe. The makeup will also be more gorgeous. The set is set in a viscount's castle, which has hundreds of years of history. Before he finished speaking, the creative director's cell phone rang. He apologized and answered the call. More than 10 seconds later, his face suddenly changed. "What? The director of the castle doesn't allow us to shoot." Chapter 262. No one knew what the person on the other end of the phone said, but the creative director's face became more and more sullen. After hanging up the phone, he squeezed out a smile that was uglier than crying at Shi Sui and Xiang Yi. "I'm afraid we have to change our shooting plan." Xiang Yi asked, "Did something happen?" The creative director sighed and said, "Actually, we are not in charge of contacting the owner of the castle directly. We are renting it through an intermediary. Just now, the intermediary said that the Viscount tasted a few Chinese dishes at the recent food festival. Because he found them too disgusting, he posted more than a dozen posts on his social media account, all of which were dissing Chinese cuisine. He heard that the castle was rented to Chinese people for the shoot, so..." Xiang Yi's expression was perplexed. Even in the fast-forward world, Westerners' acceptance of Chinese cuisine was still very high. She asked curiously, "What food did he eat?" The creative director searched for the Viscount's social media account and showed it to Xiang Yi. Xiang Yi glanced at a few posts, raised her eyebrows, and said to Shi Sui, "It seems that the Viscount is a gourmet." All the posts were related to food. The pictures were beautiful and the writing was good. When it came to delicious food, he would praise it to the heavens. He would use exaggerated rhetoric such as God-given delicacies, God-kissed hands, and the gift of nature. He was a master of flattery. When it came to disgusting food, he would directly criticize it, such as "It tastes as bad as smelly socks on a rainy day. It's so disgusting that the best dish today was lemonade. If he taught huskies how to cook, they would definitely be able to cook better than you," and other sarcastic remarks. It was precisely because he was not short of money that he could ensure absolute fairness. Moreover, he was a glutton with tricky tastes, so he had countless fans and was famous for being a gourmet. Many restaurants had a love-hate relationship with him. They loved that his casual praise could bring them great popularity, but they were also afraid that his criticism would cause the restaurant's business to plummet. Xiang Yi scrolled to the comments he had made before, and her beautiful eyebrows furrowed. "These are at most improved dishes, right?" Shi Sui said, "It seems a little like dark cuisine." It was more than that. It was like the devil's cuisine. There were all kinds of strange and nondescript combinations. It was comparable to Chinese canteen dishes such as fried meat with orange and lime and fried chili with 5-kernel mooncakes. The creative director was like a frosted eggplant, listless and devoid of any fighting spirit. Suddenly, he heard Xiangyi ask in a gentle voice, "Can you contact this Viscount? I think we can try harder." The creative director smiled bitterly and said, "This is not something that can be achieved with hard work alone. Lord Viscount has an eccentric personality. Apart from top-notch delicacies, nothing else will work on him." Xiangyi said seriously, "I want to treat him to a taste of real Chinese cuisine." The creative director hesitated for a moment and asked, "Do you know any Michelin chefs? Then there might still be a chance." Xiangyi shook her head. "Although I don't know any Michelin chefs, I know a little about cooking." The creative director was greatly disappointed, but he didn't want to discourage this lovely Asian beauty. He could only fake a smile and say, "I can try to contact them." Shi Sui found a clip of Two Under One Roof, which was a video of Xiangyi cooking and the delicious food at the end. Out of courtesy, the creative director clicked play. 5 minutes later, the creative director exclaimed, "Oh my God! It's so exciting. Watch it again. Let me watch it again." Chapter 263. After watching the video a few times, the creative director was completely stunned. He looked at Xiangyi with a blazing light in his eyes. If he used to look at Xiangyi with admiration for beautiful things, then now, he was in awe. He was in awe. Even though he had never tasted the food she made, the process of cooking and the way she presented the food was simply a work of art. Languages and cultures might not be the same. However, human beings had a common pursuit of beauty. In other words, Xiangyi had not conquered him with the taste of the food, but with the appearance of the food. Xiangyi said, "I'll leave it to you to contact the Viscount then." The creative director patted his chest and said, "No problem, leave it to me." Even though he was the creative director of a top international magazine publisher, it still took him a lot of effort to get the Viscount's contact information. The creative director originally wanted to cut the 5-minute video a little shorter so that the Viscount could appreciate it more directly. However, no matter how he looked at it, be it frying, stewing, or roasting, using flower petals, sesame seeds, or even carving as decoration, every frame was incredibly beautiful. He gritted his teeth and decided not to cut it for even a second. He first exchanged a long polite conversation with the Viscount before sending the video over and anxiously waiting for a reply. At a certain 2-star Michelin restaurant. The standards of a Michelin restaurant were divided into 1-star, 2-star, and 3-star. This restaurant was a 2-star restaurant last year and business was booming. Although the head chef had fallen ill recently and the sous chef had replaced him, some customers were dissatisfied. However, no one had expected the Viscount to come for a meal. The boss panicked and ordered the head chef to provide the best and freshest ingredients while he hurried to the wine cellar to get a bottle of good red wine. The appetizers, main dishes. The more the Viscount ate, the more sullen his face became. When the last dessert was served, he only took a small sip with his spoon and did not touch it again. The head chef hurriedly came out, trembling with fear. "What do you think of today's dishes?" The Viscount sharply commented, "They blindly pursued expensive ingredients and gorgeous presentation. Even the desserts were sprinkled with edible gold foil, but the taste was terrible. The combination of red wine and the dish are incompatible, unable to blend together. Instead, it adds to the astringent taste of the dish." A 2-star Michelin restaurant is a restaurant that is worth taking a long detour to visit. The chef's culinary skills are excellent. But in my opinion, it's not even as good as a hamburger from a roadside stall. The head chef was so ashamed that he couldn't raise his head. When he saw the Viscount take out his phone, the nearby shop owner almost fainted. "It's over, it's over. The restaurant is over." Who would have thought that? The Lord Viscount seemed to have opened a video and stared at it for a few seconds with a lack of interest. Suddenly, his eyes widened and he became engrossed in the video. 5 minutes was undoubtedly a trial for the head chef and the boss. The corners of the Viscount's mouth curled up as he hurriedly got up and left. After waiting for a while, he didn't see the Viscount give their restaurant a bad review on social media. "Woo woo woo, our restaurant is saved." The boss cried tears of joy. He finally realized that for a restaurant, taste was the most important thing. "Let's close the shop first." We'll reopen after our head chef recovers. On the other side. What? Livestream cooking? Chapter 264. Xiangyi was a little surprised. Yes, this is a request made by the Viscount. He wants to see the process of cooking the delicacies, and the creative director stammered, unable to continue for a long time. Xiangyi asked, "What's the matter? Does he have any other requests?" "He wants you to have 1 million viewers in the Moon livestream." The creative director felt that the request was too unreasonable. The Moon livestream was a software from France, and most of the viewers were locals. The livestream industry in France was not very developed, and 1 million viewers was really an astronomical figure. If it were a local celebrity, they might be able to achieve it. However, Xiangyi and Shui were not very popular overseas. How could they possibly achieve it? The Viscount is obviously making things difficult for us. He's not just eccentric, he's perverted. Shui raised her eyebrows and asked, 1 million? The creative director said with a sullen expression, "Yes. Why don't we change to another venue? There's a winery that's not bad, but the filming plan may have to be rejected." Xiangyi and Shui looked at each other smilingly while Shui seemed to be deep in thought. "Are you sure it's just 1 million? Don't you have any other requests? This is already an impossible task. If there are any other requests, the Viscount won't be human." To his surprise, Xiangyi nodded calmly and said, "That's good." Actually, 1 million was a difficult task for anyone. Xiangyi felt that she couldn't do it alone because she didn't seem to have many fans. However, she had Shui who had his own fans. He should be considered a cheat, right? Shui said, "Please help us prepare the equipment for the livestream." The creative director sighed and said, "Okay. These two pitiful Asian beauties are probably going to suffer a huge blow." The livestream began. The creative director used his connections and asked a few of his friends to help forward the livestream so that the number of viewers in the livestream would not be 0. The current number of viewers in the Moon livestream was 579. This number might not be considered much in China, but it was considered a good figure in France. He did not forget to send the link to the livestream to the Viscount. 10 seconds later, a notification popped up on the phone. It was the Viscount who had sent a link to the live broadcast room using his account. Not long after, the number of viewers jumped to 3,804. Creative Variety show called it unbelievable. Lord Viscount was indeed a famous gourmet. This rallying power was truly amazing. Shui, "I'll post something on Weibo." Xiangyi, "Then I'll forward it." Typing is too troublesome. Although the creative director did not understand what the two of them were talking about, he smiled bitterly when he saw the pitiful Shui fiddling with her cell phone, followed by the pitiful Xiangyi. He had heard that Chinese celebrities had a lot of fans, but he did not know how many fans these two could attract. 10,000? Or, at most, 20,000. The creative director closed his eyes, and when he opened them again, he was stunned. The number of viewers had actually become 205,864. Creative director? Was he seeing things? Or was he hallucinating? How could it have doubled to 200,000 in the blink of an eye? It took him half a minute to confirm that there were really 200,000 viewers. However, why didn't the number change at all? In the next second, the numbers that had been stuck for a long time were refreshed. The long string of numbers blinded the creative director. Current number of viewers, 597,6531. Chapter 265. More than 5 million viewers, almost 6 million? How is this possible? One had to know that Country FS Top Awards Banquet only had about 10 million viewers. However, these two Asian beauties managed to reach 6 million viewers in just a few minutes. It's fake. It must be fake. The creative director was worried. Did these two people hire hackers to change the number of viewers in the livestream to please the Viscount? This kind of clumsy technique will definitely be discovered. The phone screen suddenly turned black and the livestream software retreated. The creative director froze for a moment and felt guilty. Could it be that we've been discovered? Is that why Moon banned our livestream? He opened the chat box with the Viscount and tried to salvage the situation. Before he could think of a way to redeem himself, the Viscount calmly sent him a message. Moon Livestream is arranging for programmers to repair it. The creative director was dumbfounded. Repair it? Repair what? Not long after, Moon Livestream released an official statement, which solved the creative director's confusion. Moon Livestream, due to the excessive amount of new traffic, the app is unable to host. It is currently under repair. All users can use the web version for the time being. We apologize for the inconvenience. The creative director was speechless. He looked a little dazed. So, the data isn't fake? When he came back to his senses, he was speechless. The way he looked at Xiangyi and Shui suddenly changed. Did these two people use a cheating device? They just casually started a live stream and they have so many fans. Unbeknownst to them, Shui was indeed extremely popular, and Li Jianyu and Xiong Feng had also added fuel to the fire. When Li Jianyu reposted Shui and Xiangyi's posts on the official Weibo account of Two Under One Roof, the fans of the show flooded in. Xiong Feng was even more direct. Xingchen Livestream had a strategic partnership with Moon Livestream, and as her uncle, how could he not support his niece? Hence, not only did Xingchen Livestream repost the post, but they also provided a link on their official Weibo account, which allowed them to jump directly to Moon Livestream's webpage. With the combined efforts of several parties, the traffic generated directly crashed Moon Livestream's app. Fortunately, the webpage was still passable, but it was a little laggy. The presidential suite was fully equipped. Xiangyi lowered her head to prepare the ingredients on the clean and spacious countertop. Shui helped her with some simple tasks and chatted with her. She could be called the most dedicated streamer. Good afternoon. The man's smile was gentle and gentlemanly as he interacted with the audience in both languages. The comments in the live stream were flooding in quickly. Ah, Big Brother is so dedicated. You didn't forget to do live broadcasts even when you're overseas. Did you get the resources for the Moon live stream? Our brother Shui is really good at it. She's a superstar wherever she goes. Sister Yi must have had a hard time descending to the mortal world today. She looks like a fairy in a floral dress. Woo woo, is this knife technique real? Awesome, awesome. Sister Yi, come to our hotel's kitchen and cut some dumplings. Ha 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 ha, are you serious about asking Sister Yi to cut chunks? There were also some curious comments from foreign netizens. Are they going to make Chinese cuisine? Oh, I hate Chinese food the most. It's very greasy and weird. I don't think any human would like it. Are they husband and wife? The two of them work very well together. They seem to be very loving. Under everyone's gazes, the beautiful girl calmly put the ingredients into the pot. The first dish, stir-fried spicy chicken. Chapter 266. After the oil was heated up, she added dried chili, pepper, scallion, ginger, and other ingredients to stir-fry. The seasonings were prepared by Xiangyi in China. She originally wanted to cook for Huaxiong, but she didn't expect it to come in handy now. Chili was a seed cultivated by Little Rabbit Farm and the Agricultural Science Institute. Not only was it spicy, it was also very fragrant and was the best ingredient for stir-frying chili oil. The chicken had been prepared beforehand. It was cut into small pieces, sprinkled with starch and cooking wine to enhance the aroma, and added to the hot chili oil for stir-frying. Xiangyi simply tossed the ladle twice, but it attracted the amazement of the netizens watching the live stream. Is this Eastern cooking? Cool. Jesus. Her slender body actually has so much strength. Oh, I feel like she has magic. Is this Eastern witchcraft? Why is my mouth salivating? Finally, she added dried chili, soy sauce, and sugar and stir-fried the chicken until it was fully cooked. The Viscount arrived at the hotel. Every time a dish was prepared, someone would deliver it to his table as quickly as possible. The second dish was Westlake fish in vinegar gravy. Since there was no grass carp, Xiangyi used a codfish that weighed about a catty and a half. Westlake fish in vinegar gravy had extremely strict fire control requirements, and even professional chefs would fail sometimes. However, Xiangyi's expression was very calm, and it only took her a few minutes to cook the fish just right. The essence of this dish was the sweet and sour sauce, which was made with fish soup, white sugar, rice vinegar, soy sauce, and starch. It was then slowly poured over the fish and sprinkled with ginger for decoration. The third dish was wensi tofu. Shredded shiitake mushrooms, winter bamboo shoots, and shredded ham were stewed in chicken soup. After boiling, the tofu that had been cut into fine shreds was added. It was a great test of knife skills. The fifth dish, Seongyi was extremely fast at cooking, and she was able to prepare the best 2 or 3 dishes at the same time. The netizens were shocked at first, but later on, they went crazy. I'm so hungry, Sister Yi, stop. I've already gained a few pounds. Why did Seongyi cook so many dishes today? The child in front of the screen is about to cry. Today's livestream smells so good. It's so good. Sister Yi's cooking skills are amazing. Before watching the livestream, I'm not eating, I'm not hungry, I'm on a diet, I have no desire for food. After watching the livestream, F***CK. I'll open the dirty little software now. I've already made a bowl of instant noodles. The earlier you eat, the earlier you enjoy, got it? As for the overseas netizens, they were deeply shocked by the Oriental cuisine. It turned out that there were so many cooking methods, it turned out that ingredients could be used in such a way, it turned out that Oriental cuisine was so elegant and exquisite. Why does every dish look so delicious? Mysterious Oriental girl. Amazing Oriental cuisine. Did I eat fake Chinese cuisine before? It's completely different from what little elves do. Honey, are you willing to make me a dish? I'm willing to give up everything. When the girl lifted the lid of the last dish, steam rose from the casserole as a classic Chinese dish was simmering in the casserole. Buddha jumps over the wall. Abalone, sea cucumber, pork tendons, scallops, cuttlefish, and other sumptuous ingredients were gathered in a pot and simmered with stock and aged wine. The soup base was moist and thick but not greasy. The ingredients were soft, tender, and warm. Through the screen, the rich aroma seemed to be wafting towards them and going straight to their hearts. Gulp. At this moment, regardless of country or region, countless faces in front of the screen stared at the screen with their eyes wide open. Chapter 267. The Buddha jumps over the wall was served to the Viscount. At this moment, the number of viewers in the livestream had reached an astonishing 9 million. Okay, that's all for today's dishes. Xiangyi was about to take off her apron when she realized that the creative director and the staff were almost drooling. There was no other reason. It smelled so good. It smelled so good. Unlike the netizens who were watching the livestream, they had been overwhelmed by the visual and aroma of the dishes from beginning to end. What was crueler than seeing something but not being able to eat it was seeing and smelling it but not being able to eat it. Xiangyi understood and said, "Wait a minute, I'll make something for everyone to eat." There were plenty of ingredients and Xiangyi worked quickly. In the blink of an eye, she had already prepared several dishes and handmade noodles. After cooking them, she topped them with braised beef and vegetables. It was a simple yet appetizing meal. In the livestream, Master XS braised beef noodles, come out and take a beating. Look at how much meat is in Sister Yi's bowl. I want to eat the main dish just now, and now I want to eat the home-cooked dishes too. She's indeed the god of cookery. Oh my god. I think I've really been bewitched. I've already eaten 2 hamburgers, 3 pieces of cheese, and a plate of macaroni, but I still feel hungry. By the way, there's also this. Xiangyi took out the milk pudding that she had prepared beforehand from the fridge. After refrigeration, it had solidified and the pale yellow pudding was sparkling with a thin layer of caramel. She cut some strawberries and mangoes to decorate it and handed them to Shui with a smile. Here, this is the half-sugar version, it's not very sweet. You can have 2. Shui's thin lips curled up slightly and he stared at her with his deep eyes. He said in a drawl, "Thank you for your hard work, Sister Yi." The livestream came to an abrupt end, but the fans who stayed in the livestream were exhilarated. Sweets. They're giving out sweets. I'm on the verge of death. It's so untimely and sweet. She remembers his taste. He only has eyes for her. I can't take it anymore. Medic, come and save me. Give me an injection of insulin. The foreign netizens who were unfamiliar with the couple accidentally misunderstood. Wow, what a blissful couple. Xiangyi distributed the rest of the pudding. After taking 2 bites, the creative director noticed that there was no more pudding left. He said apologetically, Alice, didn't you save one for yourself? Alice was Xiangyi's English name. Xiangyi said, it's okay. I can make more if I want. The creative director gritted his teeth and made up his mind. Enduring the pain, he said, in that case, I can share a side with you. I haven't eaten anything here yet. I have more here. Xiangyi turned around and saw Shui handing her a pudding and holding another one in her hand. Xiangyi was curious. Why aren't you eating? Have you lost your appetite? Shui said slowly, I'll wait for you to eat together. Oh. As a chef, she was often the last to eat. The feeling of someone waiting for him, and it was pretty good. The little girl lowered her eyes and the corners of her mouth curled up slightly. In the presidential suite next door, time turned back. Viscount Albert Howard was enjoying the live stream that was projected on the wall while chatting with his good friend opposite him. Chen, is this your sister? The man opposite him was dressed in a tailored black suit with his hair combed back. The moment they saw the outline of his face, the clamor of the mortal world instantly fell silent. It was as if snow had silently fallen from a distant mountain. Chapter 268. The man's facial features were handsome and deep-set, and his eyes were pure black. He exuded a sharp and ascetic aura. He glanced at the screen and said in an indifferent voice, yes. Gossiping was human nature, and Viscount Albert was no exception. She seems to have changed a lot compared to last year. It was as if she had become a different person. Viscount Albert had met Xiangyi once last year. At that time, Sang Chen had asked for help from his connections and visited the most famous psychiatrist and neurologist in Country F. At that time, Albert's impression of Xiangyi was quite bad. She's a vain, arrogant, and rude silly girl. However, it seemed that she was doing quite well today. After watching the edited video of Two Under One Roof, he originally wanted to make things difficult for her, but he did not expect her to easily achieve the condition of 1 million viewers. I just don't know how the dishes taste. While they were talking, the first dish was served. Chili. Albert frowned. He was used to having refreshing food as an appetizer, so when he saw the spicy chicken filled with red dried chili, he instinctively felt a little conflicted. But, what kind of chili is this? Why does it have such an intoxicating fragrance? Yes. Albert loved spicy food, and he had tasted many restaurants famous for their spicy dishes on his social media app. This plate of stir-fried spicy chicken was golden yellow in color, and with the addition of red chili and white sesame seeds as embellishments, the spicy and fragrant aroma went straight to his nose. Albert couldn't help but take the lead and put a piece of chicken into his mouth with his fork. Hiss, he gasped. It's so spicy. However, it wasn't just spicy. On the contrary, the texture was very rich. Spicy, numb, fragrant, salty, sweet. The layers of flavors bloomed on the tip of his tongue, bringing about a slight tingling sensation. Spiciness was not a type of taste, but a pain sensation transmitted through neurotransmitters by capsaicin. However, it was deeply fascinating. This dish might not be the perfect appetizer in Western cuisine. However, to Albert, it was perfect. Before he could marvel, the second dish was served. Westlake fish in vinegar. The smooth and crystal-clear sweet and sour sauce was poured over the entire fish. A few cuts were made on the fish, and the fins stood up like petals. Not only was it beautiful, but it also made it easier for the fish to taste better. The fish meat was smooth and tender, and it was both sweet and sour. The slightly thick sauce neutralized the spiciness of the previous dish, and the sweetness stimulated the body to secrete dopamine. Albert felt his mood instantly brighten. Incredible. Has she been practicing cooking since she was young? Sang Chen tasted it and said coldly, it's just so. She was so heartless. She had been back for so long, but she didn't even send him a message. Instead, she kept calling him Big Brother and coaxing the other brats. Albert was confused. Everyone said that he had a picky taste, but he felt that Chen's tongue was the pickiest in the world. Following that was Wensi tofu, which was as thin as a strand of hair. It was a combination of bin products, winter bamboo shoots, shiitake mushrooms, ham, and other ingredients. It was so fresh that one couldn't stop eating after one bite. After that, there was the translucent red dongpa meat that was soft but not mushy, the light and refreshing assorted vegetables, the roasted pigeon that exuded a tempting amount of oil, the fragrant and tender dinghu vegetables. Every single dish was exquisite and delicious. When the last dish, Buddha jumps over the wall, was served, Albert was so excited that his voice trembled. The standard of a Michelin 3-star restaurant is not only superb culinary skills, but it also has to have a selection of excellent wine to accompany the meal, flawless service, and an extremely elegant dining environment. However, real delicacies don't need anything, it just needs to be delicious. Chapter 269. The livestream of Xiangyi and Shi Sui, which lasted for more than 2 hours, went viral on social media in France. All the celebrities reposted it with all sorts of recommendations, such as cuisine from the mysterious East and you can finish 10 hamburgers in 5 minutes. Those comments were forwarded to Weibo in China, which immediately caused a heated discussion. Damn. Shi Sui, impressive. She's trending overseas. Come on, what does Xiangyi have to do with it? They're all fans of Shi Sui, aren't they? What did Shi Sui do? Didn't they just interact with each other for a while? Are you guys blind? Disgusting, vase fairy, please stop sucking our brother's blood. Doesn't your conscience hurt at all? Hee, of course it doesn't hurt because she doesn't have a heart. I'm so confused. Do you really think Sister Yi doesn't have any fans? I'm sorry, I'm just targeting Sister Yi. I'm dying of laughter. They keep saying that Xiangyi is just a vase, but I think Shi Sui is the biggest vase. The CP fans are shivering. Why are they tearing each other apart? In fact, Shi Sui's fans and Xiangyi's fans had long disliked each other. However, Xiangyi's fans had always been relatively small in number. However, with the accumulation of popularity of two under one roof, the number of Xiangyi's fans had begun to take shape. Besides, Sister Shi Sui's fans, led by All Is Well year-round, had been instigating the fans to tear Xiangyi apart. Over time, Xiangyi's fans had accumulated a lot of resentment. This incident was the fuse that completely ignited the conflict between the two groups. Xiangyi's fans held their breaths and began tearing each other apart. They were not weak at all. After a few rounds of tearing each other apart, they were still standing firm, which was quite surprising. In the presidential suite. Unlike Viscount Albert's fanaticism, Xiong Chen only tasted a mouthful of all the dishes. His chiseled face was cold. He lowered his head to look at his wristwatch and said calmly, I have an appointment with someone. I'll make a move first. Albert's cheeks were bulging as he looked at Chen Jin in disbelief. Chen, how did you do it? How did you have such a strong immunity to these delicacies? Don't you think it's delicious? Things like immunity, of course, she would get it after eating it a few more times. However, Sang Chen was too lazy to explain. His next business partner was very important. If Albert had not recognized Xiangyi in the video and insisted on having a taste with him, he would not have wasted his precious time. Nothing can stop me from going to work, Sang Chen said coldly. As a loafer. Cough, no, a viscount who inherited his family's honor and title, Albert felt offended. Sigh, Chen was good at everything, but he had no interest in life at all. Perhaps, there was nothing in this world that he cared about apart from work. Chen Jin was tall and slender, and his shoulders made his suit look even straighter. His well-ironed black trousers wrapped around his long legs as he strode out of the suite. Buzz. His phone vibrated. He picked it up impatiently and glanced at it, only to see that there was a message notification on the screen. Little Bunny Ee, can I treat you to a meal? Little Bunny Ee, my location. Xiong Chen stopped in his tracks. From his sleeves to his collar, he was meticulous and neat. He replied unhurriedly, I'm not free. Ha, she didn't even call him brother. She's really grown up. Chapter 270. Next door. Xiangyi hesitated for a long time. She went from selecting emojis to typing and sending them out. After that, she hid her phone in the corner of the sofa and covered it with a pillow. Then, she ran to the side and tugged at the corner of her clothes. Shi Sui was amused by her behavior and teased, Sister Yi, what are you doing? Xiangyi said calmly, nothing, just exercising. It was as if she wasn't the one who was tugging at the corner of her clothes. Shi Sui said, Your phone is vibrating. Really? Seong-yi walked to the side of the sofa and stopped. She carefully and hesitantly lifted the corner of the pillow. When she saw the notification on the screen that read, "You have received a message from Big Brother," her heart suddenly tightened and thumped wildly. She swore that she had never been so nervous before. "You don't dare to read it," Shui said with a half-smile. "How about I help you read it?" Seong-yi asked. "How much do you charge?" "I'll pay you on credit." The girl hesitated. Shui picked up her phone and said, "Why don't you read it yourself?" Seong-yi took a few steps back and said, "I promise." A certain black-bellied actor who had succeeded in getting his way narrowed his eyes and glanced at the message in the chat box. The corners of his mouth lifted slightly. "TSK, another arrogant guy. What did he say?" Seong-yi asked nervously. "He said he's busy." "I see." For some reason, she didn't dare to read the message. However, with Shui reading it out for her, she didn't feel so scared anymore. Unexpectedly, Shui changed the topic and said lazily, however, he said that he's short of in-flight meals on the way back to China. Seong-yi was speechless. The girl's eyes lit up. "I can cook. Help me reply to him." Reading messages is one type of fee, replying to messages is another type of fee. "Seong-yi, are you sure you want to upgrade the service?" His upturned peach blossom eyes were smiling as he stared at the nervous girl. Seong-yi nodded and said, "Yes, I can." The next second, Shui pressed down on the voice message. The sleeves of her sweater slid down, revealing a clear section of her wrist bones. Light blue veins protruded from her skin, making her look both aesthetic and sexy. "Big Brother, I will tell Sister Yi. Good luck with your work." Seong-yi blinked her long eyelashes, vaguely feeling that something was not quite right. She hesitated for a moment before asking softly, "Why are you calling him brother?" "You're even more familiar with it than me," Shui said innocently. "Sang Chen is a few months older than me. Isn't it natural for me to call him brother?" What he said made sense. In China, just as the Shui sisters and Seong-yi's fans were tearing into each other, a famous food critic posted on Weibo. "Yijushi Ijiao Yin, recently, I've been following the trend and learning some of the words you young people use. I don't know if I'm using it correctly, but I'll just take it as a joke. First of all, I'll let you know that I'm an uncle fan of the god of cookery at Seong-yi V. I wanted to use uncle fan, but it sounded like I was scolding her, so I gave up. I haven't watched all the live streams of Two Under One Roof, but I've watched every meal that Seong-yi cooks. Everyone probably cares more about her face and her interactions with other men. But what I want to say is that her culinary skills have been greatly underestimated. This series of dishes that she cooks can completely represent the top level of Chinese cuisine. If one were to use a short comment to describe the live stream overseas this time, it would be sad smiley going to the startling feast of the human realm to see the beauty of delicious food." Chapter 271. This reviewer's writing style was beautiful, and he was especially good at praising others. He had accumulated a lot of fans. As soon as this Weibo post was posted, Seong-yi's fans were elated. They liked it, shared it, and commented on it, increasing its popularity. Most of the Shui sisters were still very rational, but a small number of extreme girlfriend and wife fans began to diss her in a sarcastic manner. Reported, "Hihi, I'll send you on your way, this is hilarious. Why would anyone believe such an obvious advertisement? How much money did you take from the vase fairy to be her bootlicker? Make a group of ghostwriters, we can all earn money together, what's the matter? Don't you have anything else to brag about? Come brag about your cooking skills. What's so great about being able to cook? I really don't know what's there to brag about." Eating and Drinking probably didn't expect to be attacked as he typed a few question marks in the comment section. The onlookers immediately stepped in. "Yo yo yo, he's anxious, dumb people have dumb luck, but dumb people don't tilde. Is there really someone who's a fan of the vase fairy? No way, no way." Just as Eating and Drinking's Weibo comment section was about to collapse, a certain online celebrity chef reposted his Weibo post. "Sad smiley, you eat cai wo choi caiv. From the perspective of a chef, I really admire this little girl." The first dish, stir-fried spicy chicken, was a classic Sichuan dish. The balance of spiciness and fragrance was a big problem. The second dish, Westlake fish in vinegar, was another hurdle to control the heat. The third dish, Wensi tofu, was a test of knife skills that could dissuade countless amateur chefs. It could be said that every dish displayed at least one kind of top-notch cooking difficulty. Just the most common cooking method of stir-frying, just the tossing of the ladle, the control of the heat, and the seasoning were enough for a normal chef to ponder over for several years, not to mention the aesthetics of the plate, the combination of ingredients, the innovation of the recipe, and so on. The layman enjoyed the show, while the expert appreciated the skill. This little girl's cooking skills were not only top-notch, but among her peers, she was the highest ceiling that could be reached. Xiangyi's fans, well said, plus drumsticks. Shui sisters, why is there another whitewashing? How annoying. Until, the official Weibo account of Huaxia Gourmet Weekly posted a highly rated post, Huaxia Gourmet Annual Magazine V. He is skillful and ingenious, presenting the Huaxia cuisine of frying, cooking, braising, stewing, and roasting. He is young and promising, promoting the traditional Huaxia cuisine culture. He is neither servile nor overbearing, showing an elegant demeanor that is as tranquil as water. Alike for our god of cooking Xiangyi V. At first, there were people who mocked him. What the hell are you talking about? It's *T, official blogger. Are you embarrassed? I feel embarrassed for you. You only have so few fans, yet you're willing to accept a whitewashing draft to make money. However, these people were soon slapped in the face. Wake up, this annual is more awesome than the Michelin Guide. *T. Do you know that this is the most authoritative food vein in our country? Let's put it this way. This is a magazine that is only published once a year. The restaurants and chefs selected on it symbolize the official recognition of the China Chefs Association. In an instant, the Shui sisters were dumbfounded. Is the vase fairy really that impressive? Xiangyi's fans, on the other hand, were elated and exhilarated. Our sister Yi is so capable. My son is so outstanding, I can't help it. Some Shui sisters, please have some self-respect. Just a second ago, you ignored Xiangyi, but now, Xiangyi is out of your league. Chapter 272. With the official stamp of approval, the Shui sisters couldn't criticize her even if they wanted to. Instead, they were ridiculed by passers-by. Some fans were jumping up and down in anger, while others suddenly came to their senses. Why are there so many people praising the vase fairy? Come to think of it, it seemed that, probably, this woman was quite outstanding. Many people turned from anti-fans to fans, and some even turned from anti-fans to fans of the couple on the spot. Country F, that's great. Viscount Albert has agreed to let us use the castle for the shoot. The creative director screamed excitedly. Shui smiled and said, "Thank you for your hard work." Xiangyi said gently, "I'm counting on you for tomorrow's shoot." Okay, I'll make the arrangements right away." The creative director left happily. Shui's phone kept vibrating. He took it out and saw that it was another unknown number. He frowned and hung up the call. It seemed that the phone number had been leaked. He had no choice but to turn off his phone for the time being. In China, all is well year-round had changed more than 10 numbers, sending and calling Shui frantically, but he didn't reply to any of them. Why wouldn't he reply to her? She liked him so much that she had spent a lot of money just to get his phone number. The woman's eyes were full of morbid paranoia. She changed the servant's phone and called him again. However, a sweet robotic female voice sounded from the other end of the phone. "Hello, the subscriber you have dialed has turned off his phone." Turned off his phone? How could he turn off his phone? All is well year-round grabbed her hair and screamed in agony. The next day. It often rained in a city, but today was a rare day of sunny weather. An ancient and majestic building stood halfway up the mountain. The extravagant and gorgeous glass-inlaid windows and sculptures reflected mottled light and shadow. Shui got out of the car first and opened the door for Xiangyi like a gentleman. He was chatting with Xiangyi in a low voice when he was suddenly interrupted by a voice. "Hey, Shui, stay away from my sister." Xiangyi looked up in surprise and met the eyes of her third brother, Xiongqi, who was not far away. Brother. Xiongqi was dressed so fashionably that even supermodels would be ashamed of their inferiority. He walked towards Xiangyi and pulled Xiangyi behind him. He stared at Shi Sui warily and said, "You're not allowed to talk to my sister." Shi Sui blinked and looked at Xiangyi innocently and pitifully. He lowered his eyes and said to Xiongqi, "Okay, I got it." The moment a handsome, tall, and upright mature man showed a slight weakness, the lethality it brought was many times greater than that of a little puppy. Who could withstand this? As expected, Xiangyi wavered. "Brother, you should be more polite to Shi Sui." Before Xiongqi could answer, Shi Sui chuckled bitterly. "It's okay. I'm used to it." Xiongqi. What the hell? Wasn't this person very arrogant before? He's not a good person. Xiongqi was going crazy. Have you forgotten that he used to practice with Big Brother and bully us? Xiangyi was confused. Ah, did he? Xiongqi suddenly realized that the two demons would occasionally bully his second brother, Xiongli, and him and Xiongyu. They would often bully his little uncle, Xiongyu, however, they had never bullied Xiangyi. Suddenly, Shi Sui tugged at Xiangyi's sleeve and complained in a low voice. "Sister Yi, he said bad things about me, Xiongqi. Why do you have two faces?" Chapter 273. However, Xiongqi felt that his sister wouldn't fall into such a simple trap. His gaze towards Shi Sui was full of provocation. "Ha, naive. Do you think my sister will believe you?" "Unexpectedly, brother, Shi Sui is a very nice person. You should get along well with him, okay?" The girl looked up at him with clear and calm eyes, and her tone was quite sincere. Xiongqi was speechless. "Can't you tell that he's pretending?" Xiongqi was going crazy and pushed Shi Sui. "If you don't believe me, you can see, when he was young, he had provoked Shi Sui and was beaten to the point where he had to climb up a tree to escape, crying his eyes out. However, this time, Shi Sui stumbled and staggered backward before barely regaining his balance. He pursed his thin lips and looked even more aggrieved. "Sister Yi, look, he even pushed me, brother." The girl looked fierce. "How could you do that?" Xiongqi was speechless. "Didn't I just King push you a little bit? Do you have to be so weak?" Shi Sui blinked with an innocent look on his face. Xiongqi was so angry that he lost the ability to organize his words. "I. He. You. Arth." The men's makeup and hair were done quickly, so they filmed Shi Sui's solo scenes first. Xiangyi was in the dressing room when she vaguely heard screams coming from outside. Xiongqi, who was holding a needle and thread and making the final edits to his sister's dress, sneered. "He's a womanizer who attracts bees and butterflies. He's not a decent man," Xiangyi said. "Brother, you're biased against Shi Sui." Xiongqi glared at her. "Aren't you the one who thinks he's born with a seductive face? I think he's the reincarnation of a male vixen." In short, in the eyes of Xiongqi, the current Shi Sui could be equated with a dogman. "He's not a vixen." Xiangyi defended Shi Sui in a low voice. After Xiangyi was done, she was stunned by Shi Sui's beauty at first sight. The shooting was in progress. The long table covered with a white tablecloth was filled with sumptuous food. The candles on the gorgeous candlesticks were burning, and the dim lighting cast a heavy and depressing atmosphere. However, it couldn't hide the man's presence at the end of the long table. Shi Sui was dressed in a retro black suit, and his tie was meticulously tied. The man's skin was cold and pale, and his eyebrows and eyes were even more profound after the light makeup. There was a small red rose drawn under the end of his right eye, adding a touch of seductive charm. His performance in the camera was superb. It was like a vivid movie that pulled people into the story. From being a serious gentleman, to the casual devilishness he exuded when he loosened his tie with one hand, to taking out a rose from the vase and casually biting off the petals one by one. His pale thin lips were stained with pink juice, a strong impact hit them in the face. The photographer's hand didn't stop pressing the shutter, and he kept taking pictures. Amazing. It was incredible. This was the most outstanding Asian man he had photographed in all these years. However, when Shi Sui inadvertently saw Xiangyi in the corner, his expression suddenly changed. The frivolous and lazy vampire seemed to have fallen into the mortal world at this moment. His gaze was as gentle as the wind rustling the cherry trees in March. He seemed to have realized that he had lost his composure. He lowered his head slightly and looked down, but the corners of his lips unconsciously curled up. Xiangyi, third brother seemed to be right, Shui was quite a vixen. Chapter 274. The cameraman managed to capture the scene in time. The creative director's mind was full of inspiration and he began discussing with the cameraman in a bid to enrich the shooting plan this time. Filming was paused. Shui got up and strode towards Xiangyi. Screams were heard everywhere she went, regardless of whether it was a man or a woman. Xiangyi's face was calm, at least on the surface. The young girl praised sincerely, "You're very handsome today." Pishti thank you. Sister Yi There were two voices, one from the jealous Xiongqi and the other from the smiling Shui. Xiongqi removed his sunglasses and wanted to diss Shui. However, even with his experience as a top designer, he found that Shui's outfit was impeccable. He gritted his teeth and said, "She's alright. She looks decent." Shui would automatically turn on her hearing whenever Xiangyi was around. She completely ignored Xiongqi's words and fixed her gaze on Xiangyi. She chuckled seductively and said, "Sister Yi, it must have been hard on you for descending to the mortal world today." In order to accentuate the contrast, Xiangyi's dress was not only gorgeous, but it was also a bright creamy yellow color with white lace elements. Every lace was sewn on by Xiongqi himself, making it look even more beautiful than the princess dresses in cartoons. The retro square-necked dress accentuated her slender waist and exquisite collarbone. Her makeup was clean and clear, and the color of her lip gloss complemented the rose at the end of Shui's eyes. She was full of vitality and elegance. Xiongqi humphed and exclaimed, "You don't have to praise my sister too." Xiangyi responded with a smile, as if there was nothing unusual about her. However, her heart suddenly skipped a beat. Shui looks even more vixen when she smiles. Shui's solo shoot was completed with amazing efficiency. The final product was perfect, and the creative director and the others were full of praises for it. After his segment ended, it was Xiangyi's turn. According to the shooting plan, Xiangyi was going to shoot an outdoor scene in the rose garden of the castle. However, the photographer changed his mind at the last minute. "Let's go to the forest behind the castle. I heard that deer often appear there. The effect will be great if we can capture it on camera." Xiangyi cooperated with him in a good mood. However, when they arrived at the forest, the photographer's attitude was perfunctory. After taking a few photos, he began to question Xiangyi. "Your movements are too stiff. Do you even know how to pose?" "Oh, that's not the effect I wanted at all." Xiangyi frowned and asked to take a look at the photos, but she was flatly rejected. "You are not qualified." After struggling for more than half an hour, the staff were all exhausted. It was inevitable that they would look at Xiangyi with dissatisfaction. Although they felt that there was nothing wrong with Xiangyi's gaze and pose, Steve was a professional photographer. Hence, there must be something wrong with Xiangyi. Steve continuously complained, but when he saw Xiongqi coming over, he immediately shut up. He pretended to take a few photos and said, "Okay, let's take a break." The staff members felt as if they had been granted amnesty. Xiongqi handed his sister a glass of water and even carefully inserted a straw into it. "Why did you take so long?" Xiangyi was a little embarrassed. "Maybe I'm holding them back. I heard that the final product is not very good." Xiongqi frowned. "Don't think too much. Maybe the photographer's skills are not good enough." Steve, who was at the side, looked at the photos just now guiltily. If he hadn't received money from Hades's competitor, he wouldn't have deliberately taken such a poor shot. It's a pity that this little Asian beauty has such a great sense of camera. Chapter 275. However, he had already thought of a way to shift the blame, so Steve didn't panic at all. The shoot continued. This time, with Xiongqi watching from the side, Steve didn't dare to complain, but he chose another method, silence. With a sullen face, he didn't give Xiongyi any hints apart from opening the door. The atmosphere became more and more suffocating and unbearable. During the second break, the crew was really exhausted. If they were tired, it would be fine if they could get some results. However, they were so tired that they couldn't even look at the photos. This kind of tiredness was meaningless. Some people couldn't help but complain on social media. Coincidentally, International surfers saw this post and reposted it back to China. Sheng sheng bu luo guo bu luo bu luo bu luo bu luo bu luo. I found a Smurf account of a fashion magazine staff member of MYSTYLE. Her performance is terrible. After working for half a day, there isn't a single photo that can be seen. The photographer wanted to shoot deer, but when she went into the forest, not a single deer showed up. I think she's a cursed girl. Let's be honest. Not only is Xiongyi unlucky, she's also a fashion black hole, right? As soon as this Weibo post was posted, someone immediately retorted, Sister Yi is a fashion black hole? Come on, her red carpet appearance at Tomato Entertainment's annual gala was perfect. People call her a vase fairy every day, which actually means that her looks are really good. There were also people who gloated, looks don't equal temperament. Some people are just nouveau riche no matter how much they promote themselves. For an international fashion magazine like MYSTYLE, what they want is a sense of high-end fashion expression, okay? Not everyone has that. With the attention of passers-by, this Weibo post slowly became popular. When the Shui sisters saw it, they couldn't help but criticize it again. It wasn't easy to find something to criticize, so of course, they couldn't miss it. At the castle, Viscount Albert invited a guest to dinner. It was the editor-in-chief of Immerse, Miss Sophia. He had been pursuing Sophia recently. After the two exchanged pleasantries, he tried to invite Sophia to go hunting together. Although we haven't seen deer in recent years, we can still hunt pheasants or rabbits. If you're interested, we can go on horseback. Sophia smiled and turned him down. She took off her plain, wide-brimmed hat and asked the creative director about the progress of the shoot. This is Sway's solo photo. The creative director showed the photo to Sophia on the computer. The photo had not been edited, but it was stunning enough. Sophia nodded her head in satisfaction. She had a feeling that this issue of the magazine would sell well. Where's Alice's picture? She and Hades were good friends. This time, the double magazine cover was also a favor to Hades. She knew that Xiongqi and Xiangyi were siblings. The photos haven't been sent over yet. Actually, some of the photos had been uploaded, but none of them were presentable. The creative director was disappointed, but he also wanted to secretly buy some time for Xiangyi. Perhaps, Xiangyi would be able to get into the groove. He was worried that Sophia would replace Xiangyi after seeing those trashy films. As the big boss, Sophia was gentle in her daily life, but she was resolute in her work. She was the famous Iron Blood Empress. At this moment, the photographer, Steve, returned. At the thought of the huge sum of money that he was about to receive, the corners of his mouth curled into a smile. However, when he saw Sophia, his expression instantly froze. Big boss, why is she here? Chapter 276. The creative director's heart skipped a beat. I wonder how Xiangyi's shoot went. It's all my fault. I've been working on perfecting the two-person shooting plan and neglected Xiangyi. Sophia said calmly, let me take a look at Alice's photos. The photographer hesitated for a few seconds before taking out the DSLR's memory card. His hands were trembling slightly. He imported the photos and previewed them. A set of trashy photos appeared in front of everyone. The creative director secretly cursed. It's over, it's over. Sophia is probably going to fly into a rage. He did not expect Sophia to just quietly look at a few hundred photos. The photographer felt lucky and thought that maybe Sophia didn't see through his tricks. If he could take good photos of the models, he could also take bad ones. It wasn't the first time he had used this trick, so he was very skilled. Not only did it show his superb photography skills for lighting, portraits, and sceneries, but it also made the people look lifeless and stiff. He also tried to capture Xiangyi's inappropriate expressions or movements, but the girl's facial expression was very well managed. Her gestures were elegant and proud, completely in line with the image of the little princess. He didn't manage to take any ugly photos. The staff came over to take a look. When they saw the superb but ugly photos, they immediately felt resentful towards Xiangyi. Without comparison, there would be no harm. If Shui's photos were stunning, then hers was simply shocking. The person who had just posted the photo secretly took a photo and posted it online. She thought that since no one paid attention to her account, she might as well post it. However, what she didn't know was that she was being watched by Chinese netizens. As soon as the photo was posted, it was immediately shared on Weibo and forums. This time, there were photos as proof, and ridicule immediately arose. Ah, isn't this the standard of the wedding photos downstairs? What a waste of such a beautiful dress and such an awesome photographer. Why call her vase fairy? Just call her a country bumpkin. Calling her a country bumpkin is an insult to the word country bumpkin. Ha 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 ha. This is probably what happens when there are no artisans. I think the vase fairy will be banned from the fashion industry after this issue of the magazine. Sophia clicked the mouse lightly, and the photo returned to the first one. This meant that she had seen everything once. The photographer saw that there was no change in her expression and secretly breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that the big boss did not suspect him. The creative director, on the other hand, looked like he was about to cry. He felt that Sophia was going to replace Xiangyi the moment she opened her mouth. Under everyone's eager gazes, Sophia spoke at a moderate pace. Did you take all these photos? Yes, ma'am. Sophia nodded slightly. Very good, Mr. Steve, right? I hereby announce that you are fired from our magazine. Yes, ma'am, eh? He was stunned. The others were also dumbfounded. Fired? Why? This isn't fair. I demand that you give me a reasonable explanation. Steve panicked. This job had a stable income and a good reputation in the industry. If he was fired, how could he survive in the industry in the future? Sophia opened the dual window mode and compared the photos of Shui and Xiangyi together. She then said professionally and calmly, "You have superb photography skills, but you're not a good photographer." Chapter 277. Being a photographer is a profession that naturally pursues beauty. This is also the founding philosophy of our magazine, to discover the beauty of different styles. You have the eyes to discover beauty, and you also have the skills to record beauty. This can be seen from Shui's photos. But, Sophia changed the topic, and her light blue eyes moved to Steve. The latter subconsciously avoided her gaze, not daring to look into her eyes. However, Alice's photo disappointed me. Please note that it is the photos that disappointed me. You showed extraordinary skills, but you lost the pursuit of beauty and the purity of your soul. Mr. Steve, I think you should understand what I mean. Let's save some face for each other in social etiquette, okay? Her words hit the nail on the head, but they were tactful and appropriate. She pointed out the reason for firing Steve, but she did not expose his filth in public. Her iron-blooded professionalism and the gentleness unique to women formed a unique style. Steve's lips moved, trying to say something to save himself, but he could not say a word. His face was pale, and he lowered his head dejectedly. I understand, Madam Sophia. This turn of events was not expected by the staff at the scene. While they were still dumbfounded, Sophia had already started to arrange the work in an orderly manner. Linda, contact the photographer, Ryan. Please arrange for Shui and Alice to rest for a while. Prepare for the meeting. I want to see the complete shooting plan. Under her orders, the originally chaotic scene was restored to order. Like a precise and efficient machine, it resumed its operation. Viscount Albert looked at this scene with infatuation. Oh God, this woman is too charming. Xiangyi had nothing to do, so she got Viscount Albert's permission and went to the kitchen to make some snacks. The light yellow round pancake emitted a faint fragrance. Xiongqi thought that it was his sister's biscuit, so he opened his mouth to eat it. However, he was stopped. This is deer biscuit made with rice bran and wheat flour. People might have diarrhea if they eat it. Xiongqi's focus was obviously different from ordinary people. He blurted out, "Is it delicious?" Xiangyi slowly typed a question mark. "Just don't eat it," she said. However, Xiongqi didn't believe her. While she wasn't paying attention, he secretly bit off half a piece and chewed like a little hamster. Although the taste was a little bland, it was made by his younger sister. For a crazy siscon, this was the best food in the world. Ryan, the cameraman who saved the scene, arrived as soon as possible. Because of the change of cameraman, Shui's part also needed to be reshot. But considering the problem of lighting, Xiangyi was the first to be shot this time. Viscount Albert noticed Xiangyi's deer biscuit and sighed. You want to use this to lure the deer over? That's impossible. There hasn't been a deer around the castle for many years. The deer in the nearby forest was a rare and protected species. They had white spots on their bodies, and the horns of the male deer were especially beautiful. However, they were especially ferocious, and there were records of them attacking humans in the early years. Unfortunately, they were becoming rarer and rarer in recent years. Some experts speculated that the herd might be endangered or even extinct. Before he could finish his words, a pair of furry, pointy ears popped out from the dense forest. Albert. Everyone held their breaths at the same time and stared in shock at the young deer that suddenly appeared. Chapter 278. The fawn's fur was very light, and it was dotted with white spots. Its limbs were slender and elegant. Perhaps it was because it was a female deer or because it was too small, it did not have antlers on its head. It only had two furry pointed ears, like an elf loved by the goddess of nature in the forest. At that moment, its round deer eyes were fixed on the deer biscuit in Xiangyi's hand. An unbelievable guess surfaced in everyone's minds. Could it be that this fawn had appeared just for a bite of food? Xiangyi blinked, lifted her skirt, and walked toward the fawn. Viscount Albert reminded her softly, "Be careful. This breed of deer is very ferocious." The next second, the fawn ran to Xiangyi and bit the deer biscuit in her hand. In the silent surroundings, the sound of the fawn chewing was particularly clear. As the fawn ate, it took the initiative to rub against Xiangyi's palm. Xiangyi was slightly stunned. Then, she laughed and gently rubbed its little head. The fawn closed its eyes comfortably, as if it had reached the peak of its life. Everyone was speechless. What happened to being ferocious? It was clearly so docile that it had no boundaries. Viscount Albert's heart was about to break down. Back then, he had been poked in the butt by a stag. Needless to say, he was a hooligan. Could it be that this little brat was more obedient? Ryan took a few photos, but the angle was not ideal. Just as he was about to continue, the fawn nimbly darted back into the forest. It ran very quickly. He could only give up and choose a scene with ancient trees and flowers to shoot. Without the photographer tampering with the photos, the shoot went exceptionally smoothly. The young lady had an excellent sense of camera angles, and she was very fashionable. Every photo was as beautiful as a pictorial. It was simply better than the rubbish photos taken by Steve. Perfect. Ryan was excited. Sophia was also very satisfied after looking at the finished photos. Everyone was about to call it a day and return to the castle when they suddenly heard rustling sounds. Looking in the direction of the sound, they saw at least a dozen deer gathered in the depths of the forest. Everyone was speechless. What? Not only did it freeload on its own, but it even brought its family along. The leading fawn was quite bold. It rushed to Xiangyi's side like a gust of wind and said in its childish voice, yo tilde, everyone thought. Is she acting coquettishly? Did you bring your family here? Xiangyi smiled. Fortunately, I made a lot of deer biscuits. She took out the remaining deer biscuits and did not rush to feed them. Instead, she placed them some distance away from the herd of deer. Then, she returned to her original position and quietly fed the deer. Gradually, a deer took light steps forward and sniffed the deer biscuits. Instantly, the buck with beautiful and huge antlers was like a kitten that had seen catmint. It bit the deer cake and swallowed it. He swallowed it. The other deer also rushed over. Albert was in a daze. He suddenly realized that the reason why the deer attacked the humans so frequently was not because they wanted to eat them, right? He carefully recalled that when he was being chased, he seemed to have been eating strawberries. The photographer, Ryan, could not hide his excitement. He stood or squatted, and in order to get a special angle, he even lay on the ground and kept shooting with his SLR camera. It was too beautiful. It was as if the telephoto lens in a movie was zooming in slowly. The flowers and ancient trees outlined the colorful background like an oil painting. The deer and the young lady formed a harmonious natural rhythm. Even the light and shadow were warm and bright. The towering castle in the distance was reduced to a foil. All the beautiful scenery in the world could not compare to this moment. Chapter 279. All the beautiful moments were captured by the photographer's camera and turned into eternity. In the end, each photo was breathtakingly beautiful. The most innocent and naive little princess and the pure and flawless fawn, the artistic atmosphere was overwhelming. Everyone was full of praise for this set of photos. Next, Shusui's shoot went very smoothly. He still maintained a high standard of performance and vividly portrayed the vampire in the dark. Then, it was time for the highlight of the day, the two-person shoot. Sophia and the two of them talked about the shooting plan again. Unlike the abstract concepts in the past, this time, they gave them a script-like existence. What we want to express is a sense of story through the depths of the photos. On the other hand, the Shusui sisters had been mocking Xiangyi on Weibo for no other reason than the fact that there were only a few extreme fans of his girlfriend and wife, but Xiangyi's fans were increasing day by day. The Shusui sisters had no choice but to switch the battlefield to the Muskmelon forum. All of a sudden, the Muskmelon forum was flooded with comments. Let's have a look at the village belle's outfit tilde. My eyes say that she's ugly, even an internationally renowned photographer can't save her, everyone dislikes her when they see her. Judging from her appearance, the vase fairy has an unlikable face. Just as they were getting excited, a new post suddenly popped up. Damn. Sister Yi is simply a Disneyland princess who escaped. The Shusui sisters were full of disdain and disdain. With that ugly photo, how could Xiangyi make a comeback? They clicked on it and saw that the blogger who had posted the photo had uploaded a social media post. It was still the same staff member who had exposed the photo, but this time, his words were full of praise for Xiangyi. Oh, my cute and pitiful the little princess. It turns out that I've been misunderstanding her all this time. It's not that there's a problem with her performance, but rather, it's the photographer's problem. Moreover, she made a kind of food called lubbing, which actually attracted a herd of deer that hadn't appeared for many years. Oh my god, is this the mysterious magic of the East? The Shusui sisters were about to mock him, but their attention was drawn to the photos in the main building. The girl in the milky yellow princess dress had a faint smile on her face. Her eyes were as clear as water as she gently stroked the deer's head. Not far away, a herd of deer gathered. The photographer captured the scene very cleverly, as if the forest elves were listening to the witch's call and offering their blessings to the little princess in the castle. The scene was so lively that it was like a scene from a fairy tale movie. Shusui sisters. Was this the vase fairy? He zoomed in and took a closer look. F***CK. It really is. The passers-by were also dumbfounded. Weren't they all mocking Xiangyi for having no temperament? You call this lack of temperament? Are all of you blind? Also, weren't they mocking Xiangyi for having bad luck and even hating deer? You call this annoying? There were more than a dozen deer in the photo, and all of them were looking at Xiangyi eagerly. Especially that little deer. It was almost like a husky rolling around her feet and asking for hugs. This was simply a deer pet's original pet. Ha ha ha, she has amazing magic. She's magical girl Xiangyi. Amazing, this photo is really beautiful. It's like a different photographer. Awesome. What kind of Mary Sue persona is Xiangyi using? She can attract so many deer just by making some random deer biscuits. She's stunning enough alone. What's more when the two of them take a photo together? I must buy this issue of the magazine. Chapter 280. The Shusui sisters, who had finally found something to criticize, were dumbfounded once again. There was even a post on the Melon forum about Sister Yi's face-slapping moments. The face-slapping is like a gust of wind. Sister Yi's face-slapping is like a tornado. The post was full of humor and the comments were hilarious. Even the Shusui sisters were ridiculed. There were also video bloggers who created short videos of themselves. The Shusui sisters mocked Xiangyi for not being able to buy a plane ticket. A photo of Xiangyi holding a shovel and cooking a large pot of vegetables appeared on the screen, accompanied by a magical sound effect of slapping someone. Do I need a reason to slap you? The Shusui sisters mocked Xiangyi for not being able to book a hotel. Slap. Slap. Do I need a reason to slap you? The Shusui sisters mocked Xiangyi for not having a good temperament. Slap. 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 Do I need a reason to slap you? The short video was simple to make, but it was especially brainwashing. Soon, it went viral and attracted hundreds of thousands of likes. The Shui sisters who were causing trouble were completely embarrassed. Shui's official fan club also issued a statement and called on everyone to follow their idols rationally and civilly. In the castle, the two-person shoot officially began. The lights were dim, the candlesticks were burning, and the red wine glasses reflected a sultry light. Ryan tried to take a few shots and looked down to check the photos. Both of them had a good sense of camera angles and were stylish. However, there was no intimacy. Ryan said tactfully, "Can the two of you interact with each other a little? It doesn't matter if it's physical contact or eye contact." Hence, the two of them slowly moved a few centimeters closer to each other. Ryan was speechless. It's like a sudden and ambiguous atmosphere in a romance movie. It's like a heart-pounding first love. Ryan tried his best to express the feeling he wanted. Xiangyi was speechless. "Sorry, this is beyond my scope." In the fast-paced world she transmigrated to, she played the role of an assistant between the male and female leads. However, she had never been in a relationship before. She racked her brains and wondered if she should hold onto Shui's arm. All of a sudden, a pair of warm hands appeared at the back of her neck and pressed the back of her head down. The girl's pupils dilated slightly, and she was forced to close the distance between them. The tip of her nose was almost touching his. Bang, bang, bang. Caught off guard, their eyes met, and their heartbeats suddenly accelerated. The sound of Ryan pressing the shutter rang out. Very good. Perfect. In the viewfinder, the vampire was teasing the clean and gentle little princess in his arms like he was teasing his prey. The girl's panic and the man's carelessness caused a chemical reaction to appear all of a sudden. It was the kind of sweetness that made people blush and their hearts race. Next, it's the feeling of being in love. Cleon continued, bewitching, falling, indulging, passionate, colliding. For Shui, it was a piece of cake for her to play an affectionate role. His peach blossom-shaped eyes seemed to be naturally affectionate, especially when he smiled. It was as if there was a deep and dark pool in his eyes. He smirked and was thinking about how to bring Xiangyi into the role when she suddenly grabbed his tie and tugged it down forcefully. The man leaned forward cooperatively and glanced at the girl in front of him with a smirk, as if her trick had no effect on him. In the next second, the girl gently touched his protruding Adam's apple with her other hand, and then moved her fingers all the way down. Wherever her fingertips touched, it was as if little flowers of electricity had bloomed. The gaze in Shui's eyes changed instantly. Chapter 281. His Adam's apple instinctively moved twice in a sensual manner. However, the initiator of it all still remained calm and raised her eyebrows at him. She seemed to be provoking and seducing him. Shui's dark eyes were covered with a layer of gloomy and obscure light. He licked the corners of his lips and the smile in his eyes spread wide, making him look extremely bewitching and devilish. Xiongyu was speechless. She was just imitating a girl who was particularly good at seduction in the transmigration world. "I seem to have gone a little overboard." "Shui, don't smile like that, I really can't take it," Ryan exclaimed in awe. The sound of the shutter clicking filled the air and only stopped after a long time. The photos were synchronized to the computer at the side, and Sophia immediately took a liking to a certain photo. She held her breath. Although she had seen a lot, she was still amazed by the beautiful scenery today. If nothing went wrong, that photo would be the cover of this issue. The shoot was paused and the makeup artist stepped forward to touch up Xiangyi's makeup. Xiongqi also came over to help her tidy up her skirt. Looking at his sister, he asked, "When did you learn to do all that nonsense?" Xiangyi feigned ignorance and asked, "Huh? Shall we have seafood and tomato pasta tonight?" Xiongqi subconsciously wanted to agree, but he changed his mind in time. Gritting his teeth, he exclaimed, "I'll settle the score with you after the shoot." On the other hand, Shui was drinking water calmly, as if everything that happened just now did not affect him at all. However, his habitual action of reaching for his cigarette box betrayed his thoughts. Shui had never felt so terrible about quitting smoking. He felt like he desperately needed something to calm himself down. Otherwise, he would keep replaying the scene of her cold and soft fingertips touching his Adam's apple, It was very annoying. The shoot began again, but to Xiangyi's surprise, the scene changed to a bedroom. It was still the bed in the bedroom. She repeatedly confirmed it twice before accepting the reality. She did not show it on her face, but she was still a little flustered. Shui seemed to have noticed her nervousness. He chuckled and asked, "Are you going first or should I go first? Or should we sleep together?" "Sleep together, sleep together." Xiangyi tensed up and pushed Shui. "You go first." In the end, she did not know if it was because she did not control her strength well or because Shui did not control his center of gravity well, but he fell onto the bed and stared at her innocently. The crew members on set were looking at Xiangyi's gazes too. This little Eastern beauty, can't wait for the big Eastern beauty. Xiangyi, she was Adams. This Shui did not say anything. He just stared at Xiangyi and smiled. Xiangyi whispered, "Have you been on the cover of a magazine before?" Shui, "Yes." Xiangyi, "No wonder you're so good at acting." The man raised his eyebrows. At such a close distance, there was an uncontrollable ambiguity fermenting in the air, diffusing and dispersing in the air. He seemed to be gently wrapping his arms around the girl's waist, but in fact, he was full of strong possessiveness. He whispered in her ear, "I've never interacted with anyone before. Our sister Yi is the first." Chapter 282. Shui seemed to have said something, but Xiangyi's mind was blank and she didn't hear it clearly. She only remembered that his breath was hot. Unbeknownst to her, this scene was extremely beautiful in the viewfinder of Ryan's camera. The little princess, who was in love, was confused and helpless. Her eyes were blank. The vampire, who had finally succeeded, had a strong sense of aggression and danger in his eyes. She was in a mess but obsessed. She was drowning but unwilling to struggle. Redemption? "Sorry, there's no need, please follow me and fall into darkness together." The last set of scenes was full of symbolic meaning. The little princess was standing by the window. Behind her was the vampire who was holding her waist and restraining her. The man's lips were only half an inch away from her fair neck, but he hesitated and didn't bite down. The next second, the little princess raised her hand and closed the window. The last trace of light in the castle disappeared. Everything was shrouded in darkness, as if time had been sealed and the past had been locked. However, in the retro-carved mirror, there was a reflection of their interlocked hands. "Okay. That's it." Ryan announced the end of the shoot. Only then did the crew wake up from their daze. It turned out that they had unknowingly been substituted into the story. This story wasn't exactly a fairy tale love story. On the contrary, it was a little dark, but it was more shocking and memorable. Ryan and the others went to watch the film. Xiangyi stood rooted to the ground and didn't come back to her senses. It wasn't until Shui flicked her forehead that Xiangyi looked up slowly. Shui said calmly, "It's just a story." Xiangyi, "Yeah." She was just in a trance for a moment. Were the lives she saw when she was traveling through worlds real or illusory? Were they just insignificant stories? Xiangyi. Shui suddenly called her full name. He didn't use his usual teasing tone. Instead, he said in a gentle and serious tone, "You are you, not someone else. Nothing can erase your existence." Existence. The girl subconsciously placed her palm on his chest. A deep and powerful heartbeat. She breathed a sigh of relief and finally pulled away from those chaotic thoughts. The next second, Shui clicked her tongue and said in a drawling tone, "Are you taking advantage of your brother so blatantly now?" Xiangyi. "No, I didn't." Shui, "Don't spout nonsense." She quickly retracted her hand, her expression especially indifferent and calm. "My hand is dirty, let me wipe it." Shui raised his eyebrows. "Then where are you going to wipe your dirty hands next time?" He said lazily, as if he was coaxing a child. "Can you give me a notice in advance? After all, I'm already so old, and I can't stand your torment." Xiangyi. Okay." The girl lifted her skirt and fled in a sorry state. Due to Viscount Albert's warm invitation, Xiangyi and the others stayed at the castle for the night. When it was almost time for dinner, Albert arrived at the dining room as if nothing had happened. He thought that he was the first to arrive, but to his surprise, Shui, Xiongqi, Sophia, and the others were all there. Albert was speechless. Sorry, I lost. Everyone discussed various topics such as finance, art, red wine, and so on. By the time the maid served the dishes that Xiangyi had cooked, all the topics came to an abrupt end. Albert immediately laid out a white tablecloth for Miss Sophia and himself, and prepared for the meal. He turned around, only to discover that Xiongqi was calmly taking out of his large bag. He took out an oversized bowl. Albert was dumbfounded. Damn it, that works too. Chapter 283. Sensing everyone's surprised gazes, Xiongqi said seriously, when it comes to hygiene, start with preparing your own utensils. Everyone. As if I'll believe you. But soon, everyone's attention was attracted by the food on the table. There was a chef in the castle, and Xiangyi thought that not everyone would like her cooking, so she made two simple dishes, a beef patty and a fried mushroom. The beef patty was made from beef tenderloin, which was marinated slightly before frying in a pan. The heat was controlled just right, and it could be dipped in black pepper sauce or tomato sauce according to one's taste. The fried mushroom was made from fresh mushrooms picked in the afternoon, mixed with flour, egg, and other ingredients, and fried. It was then rolled in a circle of chili powder, cumin, and other condiments that the girl had brought from China. The aroma was overflowing, and it went straight into everyone's nostrils. Albert felt that he was a devout believer. In the past, when he ate with others, he would lead them in praying. But today, he recited the prayers very quickly, and then announced that it was time to eat. The beef patty was exquisitely made, and Albert bit off half of it in one bite. The juices of the meat filling splattered, and it bloomed beautifully on his taste buds. Albert's gaze drifted. Was this heaven? How could there be such delicious food? Miss Sophia was interested in the fried mushroom. She carefully forked a small piece with her fork and took a bite. The fried mushroom had a crispy outer layer, but the mushroom inside was fresh and tender. The combination of the three flavors of egg, flour, and mushroom formed a rich and complex texture. She felt that she could use an article to describe this wonderful feeling. As for Xiongqi, he liked to eat noodles, so Xiangyi scooped a bowl of seafood and tomato pasta for him. Then, she added a circle of fried mushrooms and a circle of sliced beef patties, forming a unique big bowl of seafood pasta with rice. As he ate, he glanced provocatively at Shui. H, my sister only scooped rice for me. Shui's expression didn't change. There was nothing wrong with his dining etiquette, and he was elegant and noble. When he was almost done eating, he wiped the corners of his mouth with a snow-white napkin and suddenly said, Sister Yi, have you thought about what to make for Big Brother's in-flight meal? Upon hearing the word Big Brother, Xiongqi instinctively sat up straight, even forgetting to chew the pasta at the corner of his mouth. Xiangyi nodded. Yes, I'll make Big Brother's favorite dishes. She tilted her head and looked at Xiongqi. Big Brother, do you want to accompany me? Let's go home and see Grandpa. Regardless of whether it was to accompany his sister or visit his grandfather, he was very happy with these two options. However, with the addition of the option of going with his elder brother, this question instantly became a question of death. Sister, you're not a kid anymore. You're a big friend now. Xiongqi acted like a big brother and said in a dignified manner, Can you be a little more mature? Do you need me to accompany you on the plane? Oh, Shui smiled. It's okay. I'll accompany you Xiongqi. Mother *ka. Aha. However, he couldn't do anything to Shui. He was afraid of his big brother, but Shui wasn't afraid at all. Gua? Albert's Chinese wasn't very good, and he tried to join Xiangyi and the other two's group chat. He was very confused. It's fine to bring a big bowl, but do you have to bring a big pot? Xiongqi took advantage of his big brother's absence to reveal his dark history. When my family went camping, my big brother brought a big pot. But, he paused and said in a sorrowful tone, I had to carry it for him the whole time. Something came up today and it was too late to go home. Smiley face. Let me tell you in advance. Chapter 284. At the same time. Logic Esports Base. The training room was brightly lit, and the sound of the keyboard and mouse could be heard. Xiao Naofu was nestled in the pocket of Xiong Yu's uniform, watching him play games. After watching the game for a few days, Xiao Naofu had already grasped the rules and was more addicted to it than Xiong Yu himself. Meow meow meow. Go, 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 beat him up. Beat him up for this who. In Xiong Yu's ears, Xiao Naofu's cries were simply the most beautiful sound in the world. The sniper in the game ended the battle with a clean shot and found a cover to hide behind. He freed his hand to cover Xiao Naofu's eyes and coaxed softly, "Be good, a cute kitten like Xiao Naofu can't watch these fights." Xiao Naofu. No. Let this who watch. This who wants esports too. Creak, the door was pushed open. It was Captain Wanda, who had just returned from drawing the lot. He sighed and said apologetically, "I'm sorry, my luck isn't good. We'll be facing Team ICE in the next match." This year's Lonely Glory World Connections main venue was in Nancheng. Team Logic was one of the 2 Chinese teams in the top 36 and had high hopes for them in the domestic esports circle. However, Team ICE was a seeded team and had made it to the top 3 in the World League last year. Team Logic had to face such a strong team in the first round and suffered a crushing defeat. The atmosphere in the team was inevitably a little heavy. At this moment, a woo. Xiao Naofu pushed Xiong Yu's hand away and jumped onto the keyboard aggressively. Its soft, meaty paws smashed onto the attack button. With a bang, the sniper in the game fired and hit the enemy who was about to launch a sneak attack. Everyone in the team, who wanted to fight again, but he was picked up by Wanda. The young man's eyes were filled with tears. This is a miracle. It must be a miracle. God is encouraging us. Everyone, cheer up, let's go. For a moment, the little cubs seemed to have been injected with chicken blood. Go, go, go. Only Xiao Naofu was struggling desperately. Let go of me. This who can still fight. On the other side. Research Institute, Director's Office. Why can a cripple like Xiong Li apply for so much funding? Could his hands be used for experiments? He's clearly a dog in the manger. A middle-aged man complained in dissatisfaction. The director tried to appease the middle-aged man, but the middle-aged man continued to push his luck. How about this? We'll keep Xiong Li's original team, and I'll join them to guide them. As for Xiong Li, we'll kick him out. He's no longer of any value to our research institute. The director slowly typed out a question mark. Even though Xiong Li was injured, he still managed to come up with a lot of new drugs and published a few core research papers. This was enough to prove Xiong Li's research ability. On the other hand, if you're capable or not, you only know how to bootlick. Where did you get the face to say that you want to kick Xiong Li out? The director pulled a long face. First of all, Professor Xiong Li's hand will recover soon. Secondly, Professor Xiong Li has discovered an extract from seaweed. His research has made great progress. No matter who they replace, they will never replace Professor Xiong Li. At the same time, in the middle of the bustling city, rows upon rows of buildings were brightly lit. In front of the floor-to-ceiling window, Sang Chen, wearing a black nightgown, coldly rejected his business partner on the phone. New case. Not interested. I have more important things to do. The corners of his thin lips seemed to curl slightly. My little bunny is coming to coax me. Chapter 285. After hanging up the phone, Sang Chen opened his WeChat. Little bunny EE's account was pinned to the top. He tapped on the chat box with his slender fingers and saw that there were 0 unread messages. However, there was a new status update on his WeChat moments. It was a selfie of Xiang Yi and Xiong Qi, in which Shusui's side profile was accidentally captured. The caption of the picture was, "Xiong Yi is super handsome today too. Oh, asterisk, asterisk." Oh, the two of them shared a lot of friends and there were already many comments below. Annoying number 4, I'm obviously the most handsome. Annoying number 3, replied to, annoying number 4, go away, go away. Your third brother is the most handsome, got it? Annoying number 2, Tutu, can you send me a photo of Xiong Qi? Shusui, what about me? Sang Chen, ha. What a bunch of annoying people. It was late at night, but he wasn't sleepy at all. Instead, he tapped on Weibo to kill some time. His account was verified as lawyer of Linchen Law Offices, so he would usually receive a lot of mentions, all of which were for legal advice. Occasionally, Sang Chen would reply to a few of them. Today, as usual, he scrolled through the list and scrolled past a comment that read, "May I ask if you've accepted a case for public welfare legal aid?" QAQ. He stopped scrolling. It wasn't because of the content, but because of the user's nickname. Guardian of the bestie in the world, the avatar used was a screenshot of Xiangyi in Two Under One Roof with her hair tied up in a bun. The little girl was smiling with her head tilted to the side. After adding some filters and various special effects, she looked even more gentle and adorable. Sang Chen saved it with a straight face, then subconsciously opened the avatar's Weibo account. Obviously, Guardian was a fan of Xiangyi, and almost every post was related to Xiangyi. However, Sang Chen couldn't understand her messy seniority logic. "Ah, Xiangyi is so beautiful, Mama loves you. Sister Yi is so soft, I really want to rub her. She even has dimples, she's so sweet, damn it, Yi is so awesome today. Our Wei is dead." I want to be a fan for 1 second. However, that did not stop Sang Chen from saving photos and videos. After he was satisfied with saving dozens of photos, he noticed that Guardian had updated his Weibo. "Guarding the best in the world, Yi Yi, if you don't vote, I won't vote. When will Yi Yi be able to make a name for herself? Don't forget to help Xiangyi get on the rankings. Also, our fan club group number is XXXX. Welcome everyone to join." Sang Chen checked the links that she had sent him. They were all different kinds of rankings. Xiangyi's popularity was at the bottom. Sang Chen furrowed his brows and sent a private message to the other party. "Tutu Dage V, I can take the case. Big brother Tutu V, but I have 2 requests." The other party replied instantly, really? Please speak." The Guardian in front of the screen was extremely excited. Although this lawyer's ID was a little strange, he was still a lawyer from Lin Chen law firm. She had asked for help from many lawyers, but all of them were ignored. To her surprise, the only one who replied was one of the top lawyers in the industry. A new message popped up in the chat and the Guardian checked it nervously, for fear that the other party would make a difficult request. "That would be terrible, Tutu Dage V, teach me how to get on the rankings." The Guardian : Buzz, Tutu Dage V, also, add me to Little Bunnies. Yes, Xiangyi's fan club. Thank you. The Guardian : She was in a trance. She didn't expect the other party to make such a request. Is this the legendary male fan? Or is he a male fan? *** Today is salted fish warm, guilty, don't be mean to me, I'll catch up on it during the day. Good night QAQ. Chapter 286. Probably because she didn't reply, the other party sent another message. "Tutu Big Brother V, what's the matter? Is there a problem?" Guardian hurriedly replied, No, it's totally okay." Then, this brother fan very professionally asked her to send him the details of the case. In order to make it easier to contact him, he even gave her a WeChat signal. Guardian added him as a friend nervously and quickly accepted it. She checked this brother fan's WeChat moments and realized that he didn't set it to be open within 3 days. However, there were only a few posts in total. They were from 2 days ago, a year ago, and a year and a half ago. 2 days ago, "I'm on annual leave, please contact my assistant Jiyu Jingxi for work matters." A year ago, "Little Bunny ran away from home." A year and a half ago, "Camping with my sister and cooking noodles in a big pot. It tastes pretty good." It seems that he also has a sister named Little Bunny. What a coincidence, it's actually the same as Xiangyi's nickname. In order to show her sincerity, Guardian meticulously created a tutorial for voting on the rankings and sent it to him. She also added him to Xiangyi's fan club. "Chen, thank you." Guardian replied with an emoji and ran to watch the cut version of Two Under One Roof that only had clips of Xiangyi. From time to time, she would let out a goose-like laughter. After more than half an hour, new messages suddenly popped up on WeChat. "Damn, Sister Yi has a rich fan now. She's rushed to the top of the female celebrity popularity list. She's also the first on the most popular list. I'm impressed. What kind of big shot is this? Tutu Big Brother? This name sounds a bit familiar. Ha 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 ha. Is he Xiangyi's brother fan? Guardian froze for a moment and went to check the various major rankings, only to find that this brother fan was a typical person of few words and was good at gambling. He was also very generous with his money. She was extremely excited and posted in the group, "Great, our Seongyi is also someone with a big fan club." There were sounds of agreement below. Suddenly, Tutu big brother, someone bullied her? The group was silent for a few seconds. In an instant, everyone was worshipping the big boss with slipping hair and kneeling emojis. After a while, someone finally sent a voice message to Tutu's older brother to explain, "That's right. That all is well year-round character in Shesui sister is always leading our sister year-round. Even after being slapped in the face a few times, she still doesn't know how to restrain herself. Just now, she even posted on Weibo that Sister Yi was going to drive her to her death. I'm speechless." As she spoke, she even sent out a link. It was a Weibo post from All Is Well Year-Round. The gist of the post was that she couldn't bear the evil in this world and that her only ray of light had been snatched away by others. She wanted to leave. Many fans comforted her in the comments section, and there were also people who passionately insulted Xiangyi, accusing her of driving a depressed patient to death. There were already more than 10,000 likes. Sang Chen, who was standing in front of the floor-to-ceiling window, combed his messy hair. He never liked listening to long speeches, but he patiently finished listening to the lecture. TSK. How dare they bully his little bunny? Tutu big brother, got it. Tutu big brother, the internet is not a lawless place. I will send a lawyer's letter to all the Weibo users who insulted Seongyi. The group members thought that he was joking, but they didn't expect that about 10 minutes later, Lin Chen Law Firm's official Weibo account actually posted a statement sad smiley Lin Chen Law Firm v. The internet is not a lawless place. The attached picture was a lawyer's letter with at least a few hundred Weibo users' names on it. In an instant, the foul-mouthed Shesui sisters panic. Chapter 287. Weren't they just angry and scolded Xiangyi a little? Xiangyi was a public figure, so what was wrong with being criticized? She wanted to be a celebrity, so why did they have to send them a lawyer's letter? Moreover, the lawyer was from Lin Chen Law Firm, one of the top law firms in the country. Many people felt suffocated, and they guiltily deleted their comments and changed their IDs, fearing that they would be punished by the law. Thus, Xiangyi's fans were surprised to find that the Shesui sisters, who had been shouting the loudest and scolding the most, had all disappeared. Finally, someone could deal with them. Meanwhile, Sangchen's fan club was flooded with comments. "Big brother, you're awesome." Sangchen didn't say anything else. Instead, he looked at the bustling night scene outside the window. The huge billboard shone brightly on the man's chiseled face, softening his sharp features slightly. Seeing the little rabbit up close, there were only 8 hours left. The next morning, Seongchi got up sleepily. His dark green silk robe was wrinkled from his sleep, and a few buttons on his collar were unbuttoned, revealing a large area of his pale skin. His well-defined abs were faintly discernible. He walked to the window to breathe in the fresh air, and vaguely saw 2 familiar figures. Seongchi squinted and realized that he couldn't see them clearly because they were too far away. He hurriedly turned on the camera on his cell phone and zoomed in a few times. Damn! It was his younger sister feeding the deer outside the castle, and Shesui was standing next to her lazily. Eat slowly, don't rush. Xiangyi's voice was gentle as she patiently fed the deer from yesterday. Behind the deer, there was a large group of parents and siblings who had come to freeload. Every deer was given a few pieces of deer biscuits, and they were happily munching on them. Xiangyi had already told the chef in the castle how to make the deer biscuits, and Viscount Albert generously expressed that he would be happy to feed these cute forest elves. I'm leaving today. You have to pay attention to your safety in the future. Don't get caught by poachers. As Xiangyi spoke, she suddenly turned her small face. Do they understand Chinese? Shesui quietly accompanied her by her side. Hearing her words, she couldn't help laughing. Can you translate it for me? The little girl thought it made sense and translated it to Xiaolu. Xiaolu tilted its head. Its ears were furry, and its eyes were round. It had the clearest gaze in the world. It seemed to understand and rubbed its nose against Xiangyi's palm. Xiangyi's heart softened. She took out the last piece of deer cake from her pocket and fed it. The deer behind her instantly lined up to rub against her, begging to be touched. They didn't forget to touch the pocket on Xiangyi's clothes, trying to get her to take out another piece of deer cake. It could be said to be a real foodie deer. Xiangyi couldn't help but lick her lips. I heard that venison is very nourishing, Shui added. Hunting is illegal in China, but sika deer can be artificially reared. Xiangyi's eyes lit up. Then, shall we rear 2 of them? Shui chuckled. We'll do as you say. The deer were speechless. In Xiongqi's eyes, the morning sun, the cute deer, the gentleness of a young girl, and the company of a man. All of this was obviously very heartwarming, but it was more impactful than any war or sci-fi scenes. Although he wanted to rush over and kick Shui away from his younger sister, but why did this damn inspiration come again? It was actually the inspiration for matching outfit. Chapter 288. He scratched his head, struggling between kicking the dogman and recording his inspiration. In the end, Xiongqi gave in to recording his inspiration. Ever since his debut, he had only designed women's clothing. Men's clothing was his weakness. Now that he had a chance to make a breakthrough, he had to seize it. As for the dogman, haha, wouldn't it be better to wait for Big Brother to kick him in person? Shui, your death is coming soon, ha 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 ha. At this thought, Xiongqi picked up a pen and paper. His inspiration rushed to the paper like magic. One set of couples' outfits after another were born from his slender fingers. After stroking all the deer with satisfaction, Xiangyi waved goodbye to them. The deer blinked and suddenly grabbed Xiangyi's clothes with its mouth. It stared at her with tears in its eyes. How could it not be sad that a fangirl was leaving? Xiangyi was a little sad because of it. She bit her lip and whispered, I'll come back to see you next time, okay? Woo. I'll definitely come back. Woo woo. Next time, I'll make you something better than deer biscuit. The deer stared at her for a few seconds, then slowly let go of her. Xiangyi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She suspected that the deer had become a spirit and had sufficient evidence. After watching the deer and the herd of deer enter the forest, Xiangyi and Shui walked back to the castle. Ouch! Xiangyi was so focused on looking back at the deer that she slipped and twisted her ankle. Shui caught her in time and asked with a frown, Are you okay? Should I carry you back? Imagining that scene, Xiangyi felt a little embarrassed. She said calmly, I'm fine, I can still walk. The next second, a black Rolls-Royce stopped beside her. The door opened automatically, revealing the cold and indifferent gaze of the man in the car. Xiangyi. Big Brother is here. Her cherry lips opened slightly. She wanted to greet him, but she didn't dare to call him Big Brother. Sang Chen calmly got out of the car. He was 188 centimeters tall, with broad shoulders and long legs. Dressed in a black suit, his facial features were deep and handsome. His entire body was covered with a layer of earth-shattering coldness, as if it could crush the sunlight behind him. He lowered his eyes and glanced at Xiangyi. Broken leg. Xiangyi shook her head in fear. No. Then do you need to hide in another man's arms? Xiangyi came to her senses and tried to pry Shui's hand away. Unexpectedly, Shui tightened his grip and hugged her shoulder even tighter. His peach blossom eyes curved slightly, and the corners of his mouth curled into a lazy smile. Big Brother, long time no see. Sang Chen looked at him in the eye. It was a silent confrontation between 2 men. A moment later, Sang Chen sneered, Get your dirty hands off me. Xiangyi subconsciously defended Shui, he didn't touch the deer. His hands are not dirty. Whoosh! Big Brother's cold gaze swept over. The young girl shrank her neck and said pitifully, Brother, my ankle hurts. Actually, it wasn't that painful. However, in front of Big Brother, this little bit of pain seemed to be a great grievance. Because she had been doted on before, she dared to be fearless and willful. Now you know pain? For some reason, although Sang Chen's tone was still cold, it wasn't as fierce as before. He raised his long black eyebrows. So. Xiangyi mustered up her courage. So. Brother, can you carry me back? Sang Chen looked at her and didn't say anything. Boo-hoo, I can't, I'm going to cry. The young girl was terrified and changed her words. Are you tired from the car ride? I can carry you, it's not impossible. Chapter 289. Afraid that her brother would not believe her sincerity, Xiangyi clenched her fists and tried to flex her muscles. Brother, I'm very strong. If you don't like to carry me, I can carry you. Sang Chen shifted his gaze onto her fair arms and couldn't help but frown. In the past year, that person had been using a very unhealthy method to lose weight, going on a diet. Xiangyi had lost a lot of weight and her arms were sickly slender. They looked so fragile that they could be broken easily. Forget it, what's the point of getting angry with her? Sang Chen said with a sullen expression, come here. Xiangyi did not move. It was not that she didn't want to go, but rather, she was too scared. She felt safer staying by Shusui's side. Watching as she shrank towards Shusui, Sangchen's temples began to throb. This little bunny needs to be taught a lesson. Is she really going to fall in love at such a young age? Does she have any respect for the family rules? However, Shusui had guessed Xiangyi's true thoughts. He looked down and said in a lazy and innocent voice, brother, it's the same if I help her. With that, he helped Xiangyi walk in the direction of the castle. Sang Chen shifted his gaze from his sister to Shusui's legs. He seemed to be contemplating if he should break Shusui's legs. He strode forward with his long legs and picked Xiangyi up in his arms. Huh. While she stared at him in shock, Sang Chen said with a straight face, your legs are short and you're walking too slowly. You're wasting time. Is that so? However, Xiangyi realized that her brother was carrying her. Does that mean that he's actually not that angry with me? She carefully tugged at the fabric of his suit jacket, feeling both nervous and happy. To her surprise, Sang Chen said, TSK, you're quite heavy. Xiangyi was speechless. Much heavier than rice. Xiangyi. Then I'll walk by myself. Actually, I can walk. Xiangyi was a little humble. Of course, it was mainly because she was afraid. Chen Chen of the Xiong family, a man who dominated the fear of the entire Xiong family. Sang Chen said coldly, shut up. Xiangyi. Oh. Wu 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 did not dare to speak anymore. Shui, who was standing behind her, smiled happily. Another man who can't stand being goaded. He was clearly worried about his sister's death, yet he still pretended to be unconcerned. Clearly, sullen on the inside. Castle, living room. Sang Chen placed Xiangyi on the sofa. He had been to the castle a few times and was very familiar with the layout. He got up and went to the kitchen to get some ice. Xiong Qi took a stack of design drafts downstairs and showed them off to his sister. Sister, look at my newly designed couple outfit. Xiangyi took a look and was stunned. Over the past year, there were people in the fashion industry who couldn't stand how Xiong Qi's designs were always able to set off new trends. They dissed him for not being able to design men's and children's outfits, saying that his designs were too limited. In fact, many designers specialized in one category, but in their eyes, wasn't Hades a genius? A genius had to be all-round, otherwise, he would be a good-for-nothing. She treated him with the strictest standards, yet held herself to the most relaxed standards. However, this couple outfit was so ingenious. It was simply amazing. You're even designing couple outfits for her? Xiangyi's cold and deep voice came from behind. Xiong Qi shuddered and had a strong desire to live. No. These are parent-child outfits. Parent-child outfit. Chapter 290. Sang Chen, hair. He half knelt beside Xiangyi's feet, lifted her trousers, and put the ice pack on it. Xiangyi's eyes widened, not because of her brother's sneer, but because of his actions. Was he taking care of her? She uneasily wanted to retract her feet, but Sang Chen gave her a warning look. Don't move, behave. The little bunny didn't dare to move and sat on the sofa obediently. Xiong Qi was still trying to explain his creativity. Brother, look at this outfit, it's brother and sister, and this outfit, it's sister and brother. Sangchen's face was cold. Go on. See if I'll give you a look. Don't think I don't know, sister is your muse, your source of inspiration. That's right, all of Xiong Qi's designs were more or less related to Xiangyi. The perfect combination of his siscon and his pursuit of the ultimate art miraculously created sparks of inspiration. Sang Chen, hair. Xiong Qi was about to cry, and instinctively hid behind Shui. Brother Shi, save me. he whispered. Shui said good-naturedly, sure, brother Shi, you're really too. Before he could finish, Shui said with a smile, it's a paid service, 1 fee per visit. If you want to buy, be quick. It's up to you. F*CKU. You're so sure I have to beg you, right? Do you think I'm such a spineless person? Yes, I am. Xiongqi said fawningly, okay, I'll listen to you, brother Shi. Then he heard Shui say leisurely, the company Sister Yi signed with is a bit of a scam. Why don't you sign with Xiong Feng's company? Whether you want to leave the industry or continue your career, you'll have more freedom. The word Xiong Feng naturally attracted hatred, and Shui knew this very well. As expected, Sang Chen frowned. What's he doing? It's been so long, and he still hasn't prepared the contract. Shui chimed in, that's right. Sang Chen, I'll call him right now. He threw the ice pack to Shui and went to call Xiong Feng with a sullen face. Far away in Nancheng, Xiong Feng was still sleeping due to the jet lag. In a daze, he received a call from nephew Jiyu and was reprimanded. Xiong Feng? It was very fascinating. In the living room, Xiongqi was shocked to see that Sungchen's attention had been diverted by the simple act of using his uncle as bait. What kind of operation was this? Teach me. Shui bent down and carefully applied ice to Xiangyi's ankle. The girl's pink toes curled up, feeling extremely uncomfortable. She didn't think it was a big deal for her brother to give her an ice pack, however, it was Shui. It seemed to be completely different. Does it still hurt? Shui asked in a gentle voice and looked up. At that moment, Xiangyi actually didn't dare to make eye contact with him. The ambiguous atmosphere made her heart thump loudly, as if it had been hooked by a silk thread. Xiangyi cleared her throat and said, I'm done. Shui asked, are you sure? Xiangyi answered, yes. Shui finally put away the ice pack. Seeing how uneasy she was, he smirked and asked, are you that scared of Sang Chen? Is he going to eat you up? He originally meant to comfort Xiangyi, but to his surprise, the Xiong siblings widened their eyes in horror. Xiongqi murmured timidly, Xiong Feng doesn't eat people up, does he? Xiangyi swallowed her saliva and said, I don't think so, oh my god, it's so scary. The two of them huddled together pitifully and shivered uncontrollably. Shui was speechless. The demon of the Xiong family indeed lives up to his reputation. Chapter 291. Sang Chen came back after the call and glanced at Xiangyi. We can sign the contract when we get back. Xiangyi? What kind of efficiency was this? Then, Sang Chen turned to look at Xiongqi. Xiongqi was curled up on the sofa like a boneless person. He straightened his back and rested his hands on his knees like a standard elementary school student. They looked at each other. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, Xiongqi broke down. I was wrong, Sang Chen said unhurriedly. Tell me, what did you do wrong? I was wrong in every way, Xiongqi said weakly. It's a couple outfit but it's just a design. It doesn't mean that I support my sister's relationship. Sang Chen said, go on. Xiongqi confessed everything. I shouldn't have eaten my sister's dear biscuits. But I already had diarrhea yesterday. Xiangyi looked a little speechless. I said that you can't eat it. The next second, Xiongyi's devilish voice sounded. It's your turn, Xiangyi. The girl's first reaction was to move closer to Shui. A smile appeared in Shui's eyes as he placed his arm on the sofa behind her, making it seem as if he was holding the slender girl in his arms. The deer is so cute. I shouldn't have thought about eating it, the elementary school student answered in a trembling voice. She didn't look at all like a big shot who had just returned from transmigration. What else? Sang Chen narrowed his eyes and stared at her meaningfully. Xiangyi looked confused. Apart from that, she didn't do anything bad. Sang Chen sneered and deliberately tricked her. Don't think I don't know that you're in a relationship. His tone was so fierce and cold that Xiangyi panicked. I'm in a relationship. Shui was speechless. Chen of the Xiong family is really high up the social ladder. Seeing his sister's reaction, Sang Chen was slightly relieved. That's good. Xiangyi felt as if she had been granted amnesty. Then I'll go prepare the in-flight meal. She slipped into the kitchen, feeling as if she had dodged a bullet. Xiongqi couldn't be bothered to eat his sister's cooking anymore. He tidied up his big bowl and said, "Brother, I'm going to make a dress for my sister. Bye-bye." He wasn't a coward. He was following his heart and listening to the truest summons from the depths of his heart. Only Sangchen and Shisui were left in the living room. Sangchen picked an armchair and sat down. His long legs were crossed, and his arms were crossed. His aura was incomparably strong. "I advise you, it's best that you don't have any thoughts about my little bunny." Shisui, "Okay, big brother tilde Sangchen. Speak properly." Shisui blinked. "What if Tutu has ulterior motives toward me? Should I reluctantly accept it or act in self-defense? TSK, how worrying." Sangchen. He took a deep breath. There was only one thought in his mind. This dog of a man is really asking for a beating. Xiangyi had prepared a sumptuous meal. She either put it in a thermos or refrigerated it. She was going to put it all on Tutu's plane later. She was going to take a plane with Huaxiong, which meant that they were going on a trip together. Albert followed the smell and shamelessly expressed that he wanted to try it. Xiongyi's eyes curved into crescents. "I saved one for you." Albert was touched. "Alice, you're an angel." The next second, Sangchen's cold voice rang out. "You didn't make it for me. Pack it all up." Albert said angrily, "Are you the devil?" Sangchen nodded proudly. "Thank you, you flatter me." Albert was speechless. Chapter 292. Under her brother's gaze, Xiangyi braced herself and packed up all the food. Tutu landed in the manor and Sangchen grabbed his sister's collar to board the plane. Albert waved goodbye to them with tears in his eyes, though it was unclear if he was upset because of the separation or because he couldn't eat Xiangyi's cooking. The plane hovered in the sky for thousands of miles. The deer in the forest seemed to have sensed something as they raised their heads and began barking, seemingly bidding farewell to Xiangyi. On Tutu. In addition to the resting area, there was also a tea area with a sofa and a coffee table. Sangchen was the first to take a seat. Shisui sat opposite him. The two men then looked at Xiangyi in unison. The two rows of sofas were facing each other. In other words, Xiangyi could only choose to sit next to one of them. Xiangyi was speechless. "If I sit next to Big Brother, I won't be able to escape when I get beaten up. It seems safer to sit next to Shisui." With that thought in mind, she slowly moved forward and sat down next to Shisui. In an instant, one was elated. The other had an icy cold gaze. Sangchen picked up the porcelain teacup with a straight face and took a sip of green tea. He wasn't angry. He wasn't angry at all. Shisui, on the other hand, was calm and composed. She even began chatting with Xiangyi about the topic of two under one roof. Xiangyi gradually relaxed. Sangchen waited for more than 10 minutes, but Xiangyi did not take the initiative to speak to him at all. He almost crushed the porcelain teacup in his hand. Ahem. He cleared his throat. His words had the effect of silencing her. Xiangyi kept quiet out of fear, not daring to speak. Shisui glanced at him with a smirk and remained silent. Sangchen frowned and thought, "Am I that scary?" His white, well-defined fingers loosened his black tie. He unbuttoned the top 2 buttons of his shirt and leaned on the sofa in an extremely relaxed posture. However, when he opened his mouth, he sounded like a teacher lecturing a student. "What do you plan to do next?" Xiangyi froze for a few seconds before she realized that the question was directed at her. She whispered, "No, I don't have any plans. I'm just going to record a variety show, cook some food, and retire early." Sangchen asked casually, "Are you feeling too tired?" Xiangyi shook her head. Cooking isn't tiring. How could she feel tired doing something she liked? Sangchen continued asking, "Did anyone bully you?" He glanced at Shisui meaningfully. Little Rabbit was extremely obedient and her voice was soft. "No, everyone is very good. I feel that filming this variety show is quite fun." Sangchen replied with an and said indifferently, "If someone makes you unhappy, do you know what to do?" "I know how to answer this question." Xiangyi was a little excited. "Tell the family." "Childish," Sangchen said coldly. "It's to make the other party even more unhappy, got it?" "Xiangyi, you don't even know how to do this. Do you still need me to teach you? Xiang Yi swallowed her saliva. I think I know how to. Sang Chen finally revealed a satisfied expression. The journey was long and Xiang Yi soon felt sleepy. She leaned against the back of the sofa and fell asleep. Shi Sui moved her little head to her shoulder as if there was no one else around. Sang Chen? Do you think I'm dead? Before he could say anything, Shi Sui spoke first. I didn't expect you to be angry. I didn't do it on purpose. Sang Chen gritted his teeth. You, Shi Sui interrupted him innocently. Don't be angry, brother. I'll apologize to you, okay? Sang Chen. Even green tea can't compare to you. Chapter 293. Other than his uncle Xiong Feng, no one had made Sang Chen so angry for many years. His voice was as cold as ice. You dare to take advantage of my sister in front of me? Brother, why would you think that? Shi Sui smiled. I was just worried that Sister Yi wouldn't be able to sleep well, so I helped her. I didn't even ask Sister Yi to thank me. Sang Chen inhaled and exhaled. Bear with it for a while. Bear with it, my ass. Seeing that the tutu was about to act violently, Shi Sui successfully stopped Sang Chen with one sentence. Brother, can you be gentler when you hit me? I don't want to disturb Sister Yi's rest. F***CKU. Glancing at the sleeping bunny, Sang Chen closed his eyes and suppressed the urge to throw this man out of the plane. Perhaps it was because of her brother. Although Xiang Yi seemed to be afraid of him on the surface, she subconsciously felt very safe. She slept for more than 2 hours. She opened her eyes in a daze and found herself leaning on Shi Sui's shoulder. She quickly propped herself up and apologized softly. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. Why didn't you push me away? Sang Chen was so angry that he wanted to vomit blood. It was obviously this dog of a man who pressed you on his shoulder. He was just short of tying a rope to his body. Shi Sui was calm and collected like a sly old fox. My shoulder is a little sore. Xiang Yi suggested gently, then let me massage it for you. Will it be too much trouble for you? No, it's my fault. Shi Sui blinked her eyelashes. Thank you, Sister Yi. Sang Chen saw this scene. If this wasn't the behavior of a green tea, then what was? He pinched his eyebrows and vaguely understood what Shi Sui meant when she said that the bunny was plotting against him. It was this dog of a man who had dug a hole and tricked Little Rabbit into jumping in. However, what puzzled him was that the little rabbit had always been wary of outsiders. Why was she completely defenseless against this dog of a man? Although he was angry, he still had to eat. When the food was taken out of the thermos, it was still steaming. There were 6 dishes and 1 soup, all sumptuous and nutritious. Most of them were Sang Chen's favorite dishes. Braised lion's head in soy sauce was made of 70% lean meat and 30% fatty meat. It was hand-chopped into minced meat and mixed with water chestnuts and shiitake mushrooms to make meatballs. The meatballs were first fried and then boiled. The meatballs were filled with mellow and fragrant sauce. The steamed carrot dish was made by shredding carrots, adding vegetable oil, flour, salt, and so on. After steaming, adding garlic juice and chili oil according to the taste. The shredded carrots were loose and soft. There was also mapo tofu, braised chicken, shrimp scrambled eggs, winter melon pork rib soup, and so on. Due to the limited ingredients overseas, Xiang Yi made all the more common home-cooked dishes. However, Sang Chen had not eaten for a long time. The taste of home. After tasting the first dish, his tightly knitted eyebrows relaxed. He even found Shi Sui, this dog of a man, much more pleasing to the eye. Xiang Yi nervously picked up a lion's head for Sang Chen. Brother, you eat more. She was so nervous that her palms were sweaty. She was even prepared that her brother would throw the food she picked up into the trash can. However, she did not expect. Sang Chen calmly ate the lion's head she picked for him. Xiang Yi felt relieved and asked tentatively, "How's the taste?" "It's so." Sang Chen indifferently commented. The next second, he blocked Shi Sui's chopsticks with his chopsticks and raised his eyebrows. Try picking up another one. Chapter 294. Xiang Yi's brothers were all single. Whether or not they would protect their wives was an unsolved mystery, but protecting their food was one of their ancestral skills. It was comparable to climbing trees and being arrogant. When the eldest brother wasn't around, they would snatch his food. When the eldest brother was around, they would share his food. Of course, it wasn't an equal distribution. Instead, it was based on status and strength. Chen Chen of the Xiong family would always be number one. No one dared to take away a single grain of rice from him. After the distribution was completed, it was as if a wild beast had successfully divided its territory. Everyone was extremely protective of their food. Shui retreated in order to advance. She retracted her chopsticks and forced a smile at Xiang Yi. "It's okay, I can eat the vegetables." She then picked up a piece of vegetable and placed it in her bowl. In comparison, Sang Chen was like a landlord who bullied the weak. Xiang Yi wavered again. She moved closer to Shui and whispered in her ear, "Don't be afraid, I'll leave some food for you. You can secretly eat it later. Don't get caught." Shui's eyes were filled with a scheming smile. "Sister Yi, you're so nice." Sang Chen, who had good hearing, twitched his eyebrows. More than 10 hours later, the plane arrived at the Xiong family's manor. Due to the time difference, it was still daytime in Nancheng. Sang Chen didn't sleep much on the plane. Now that he had gotten off the plane, he went back to his room to catch up on sleep. Xiang Yi slept for a long time. She was preparing to go to Little Rabbit Farm and bring back 2 geese to stew. Shui naturally accompanied her. The two of them strolled among the lush flowers and plants. For some reason, they felt like an old couple. Suddenly, Shui received a call from her agent, Sai Chuanbai. He frowned. Xiang Yi sensed that something was wrong and stopped in her tracks. The call didn't last long. After hanging up, Shui said apologetically, "I'm sorry, I have to deal with something. I'm afraid I can't accompany you." Xiang Yi said, "It's okay, I can go by myself." Before she finished speaking, there was a dispute at the entrance of the manor. "Out of the way. I want to see Shui. I saw the plane land. I want to see her. Now. Don't touch me, or I'll call the police and say that you're F*king me." The hysterical female voice, mixed with the persuasion of several security guards, was very noisy. Shui's face was as gloomy as still water, and there was a deep gloom at the bottom of his eyes. Xiang Yi was slightly startled. In fact, she had never seen Shui lose her temper before, but she instinctively sensed it. He was angry. The man's thin lips pursed into a sharp line and strode towards the manor's gate. Xiang Yi was worried that he would do something irrational, so she quickly caught up with him. At the entrance of the manor. All is well year round. Her real name was Chao Ruoan. When she saw Shui's tall and slender figure from afar, her skinny face lit up. "It was him, it's really him. He's coming to me." Shui's legs were long, and his strides were big. Soon, he was in front of her and nodded politely. "Miss Chao, right? I heard that you've been looking for me." The man's voice was much deeper than usual when he was angry. There was a hint of hoarseness in his voice, which made him more attractive. Chao Ruoan looked infatuated and couldn't wait to express her feelings. "Yes, I've been looking for you for a long time. I'm your fan. I like you a lot." Shui said politely, "Thank you for your love, but this is a private residence. Can I arrange for a car to send you away?" Chao Ruoan said self-righteously, "I'm not leaving. It wasn't easy for me to see you. Why should I leave?" She was caught off guard and grabbed Shui's hand. Chapter 295. At the critical moment, Shui took a step back and avoided her touch. Chao Ruoan missed him and stumbled, almost falling down. She looked up at Shui in disbelief. Why? Why did he avoid her? Was she a piece of trash that he wanted to avoid? "I like you. I really like you." Chao Ruoan tried her best to express her feelings. "I've liked you since you debuted. I've watched all of your movies and TV shows. I vote for you every day. I even gave up on studying for you. I've spent all my time on you," Chao Ruoan said. However, Shui did not show the slightest hint of being touched. Chao Ruoan suddenly had a thought. He looked gentle, but in fact, he was more distant than anyone else. "It's not a rational choice to give up on yourself for anyone," Shui said in a clear and calm voice. "You have your own life, and I shouldn't be the only one in your life. Miss Chao, I won't hold it against you for secretly taking photos and following my car. I hope you can return to your normal life. I'll give you my blessings. Xiao Ruoan muttered, do you mean, you don't need my love? She widened her eyes in horror, completely unwilling to accept this reality. Coincidentally, she noticed Xiang Yi. In fact, Xiang Yi kept a distance from them. However, in the eyes of the extreme Xiao Ruoan, Xiang Yi was deliberately provoking her. When she saw Xiang Yi, her emotions became even more unstable. Is it because of her? What's so good about her? Why do you care about her? Why do you care about her? You shouldn't even look at her. She was extremely agitated. I'm the one who likes you the most. I'm the one who has done the most for you. Look at me, okay? Look at me, okay? Even if you like her, you should like me. Xiao Ruoan's logic was extreme. I like you and I've done a lot for you. Therefore, you should like me back. Otherwise, you'll be letting me down. Sai Chuanbai's car arrived. He got out of the car and opened the back door. Shui's attitude was firm. Miss Qiao, please. This was undoubtedly a bolt from the blue for Xiao Ruoan. You want to chase me away? Because of that bitch Xiang Yi? Shui, who had always been polite, suddenly said in a cold voice, Miss Qiao, please watch your words. At this moment, the emotionless man's emotions were stirred. Xiao Ruoan refused to believe it. You scolded me because of her. Without my support, you are nothing. Now that you're famous, you want to dump me and like that be *tch? Shui, you're heartless. You heartless man. Sai Chuanbai. He described himself as a wife who had gone through hardships, and Miss Xiang Yi as a new lover. His ability to change concepts was truly superb. Miss Qiao, this isn't the first time you've harassed Shui. You've eaten at the same restaurant as him, bought the seat next to him on the plane, and even knocked on his hotel door. You're an adult and should be responsible for your own actions. If you continue to act like this, I can only take measures to call the police. Then report it. Let's see if the police will arrest you or me when they come. I think you're trying to drive me to my death. Xiao Ruoan suddenly took out a holder from her bag. There was a phone attached to it and she clicked on the live broadcast. The words, Countdown to Suicide, were displayed at the top of the screen. Chapter 296. A few minutes ago, when she saw Tutu landing, Xiao Ruoan posted a notice on Weibo. All is well year-round. If all hope comes from you, then the pain I'm feeling now is also thanks to you. Perhaps leaving is the best relief. I'm tired, really. There was a link to the livestream attached. When the fans saw the words Countdown to the livestream, they were all frightened. Oh my God, sister, don't take things too hard. Is there anyone who can contact her in the real world? I'm dying of anxiety. I don't know if it'll work, but based on her previous location, she should be from Nancheng Pinggan Nancheng. Someone raised a question. Livestream suicide? Why does it feel like a publicity stunt or coercion? In just a few minutes, there were hundreds of comments on that post. *tch, get lost. Who would risk their own life for publicity? *cku. Don't you have any sympathy? She's about to die, yet you're still being a troll. I hate this kind of thing the most. She's crying in front of the screen. When I see your post, I just want to curse. It was no exaggeration to say that this Weibo post had caused a great commotion in the industry. Hence, when the livestream was opened, tens of thousands of people immediately flooded in. When they saw the skinny and haggard Xiao Anhao with reddened eyes, many people couldn't bear to see her like this. I can't imagine what you've been through. Sister, let me hug you. I'll treat you to milk tea, okay? Sigh, I've also been a fan of celebrities for many years, so I understand the pain of being out of reach. However, in the next second, Xiao Ruoan switched the camera to Shui's face and questioned, Tell me, do you like that *tch, Xiang Yi? Even at such a close distance, the man's looks were still impeccable. His long eyelashes were lowered, and his thin lips were curved downwards. His entire body seemed to be covered in a layer of frost, and it was bone-chilling. Miss Qiao, he said calmly, we are all independent individuals. We can choose to like the opposite sex, the same sex, or none of them. This is the freedom that we are born with. But liking someone should never be an action that harms others. The fans in the livestream room, F***CK? Shuringdi. Oh my god, that's so cool, it's so awesome. No, am I the only one who's confused? All is well year round, why is she with Shuringdi? Let me say something quietly, this seems to be the manor where Two Under One Roof was filmed. All is well year round, it's a bit like an obsessive fan, Xiao Ruoan said, I can't win against you. I just want you to like me. Is it that difficult? I've done so much for you, but you don't care about it at all. Is the support of your fans nothing to you? Sai Chuanbai's expression changed slightly. This piece of music was a little impressive. If he didn't deal with it properly, his fans might leave him. As Xiao Ruoan's manager, he naturally put his artist's interests first. So, he stepped forward to stop Xiao Ruoan. Miss Xiao, not only are you trespassing on private property, but you're also secretly taking photos. Shua, Xiao Ruoan took out a fruit knife and pretended to cut her wrist. Don't come over. Sai Chuanbai immediately dared not move. The fans in the livestream were dumbfounded. F***CK, she must be an obsessive fan. Chapter 297. Look at how skilled she is. She must have done this a lot. I'm so confused. What kind of illegitimate behavior is this? Based on the time, Shui should have just returned to the country not long ago. He sat there for more than 10 hours without much rest and even had the camera pointed at his face. It's terrifying. The public opinion changed all of a sudden. Xiao Ruoan glanced at the bullet screen in the livestream, but the comments made her very puzzled. Why aren't they supporting me anymore? Why did my livestream fail? However, she didn't have time to care about that now. She just wanted to threaten Shui and make him compromise with her. However, to her surprise, Shui gave a direct response to her question. I'm very grateful for the support of my fans. It's very fortunate for an actor to be liked and supported by others. Without fans, Shui wouldn't have become the actor that I am today. But everyone wants to have an independent space where they won't be disturbed. I want my fans to focus on my work, not me, nor my private life. This response was courteous and sincere, and it left a very good impression on him. Boo-hoo, Shui said it so well. He's an actor. An actor. He's not a target of harassment from all is well year round. QAQ, it's not easy for Shui. He's relied on his own abilities to make a name for himself. I didn't expect him to be treated like this by his obsessive fans. Sai Chuanbai was a little emotional. He knew very well that Shui's words were not just polite words, but rather, he really meant what he said. Fans were comparable to top-notch traffic. As long as he wanted to make use of his fans, he could earn a lot of money at any time. For example, he could take on some commercials for unlicensed brands without moral integrity. As long as he was thick-skinned enough, it would be easy for him to earn money. However, Shui didn't. He didn't take on commercial activities easily and was extremely serious about acting. Even if it was a cameo appearance for free, he would never slack off and only act in a few scenes perfunctorily. Sai Chuanbai felt from the bottom of his heart that Shui was really worthy of his fans' love and achievement. However, Xiao Ruoan panicked. Without public opinion, what else could she use to threaten Shui? She made up her mind and said, I just want you to accompany me for 3 days. After 3 days, I won't disturb you again for the rest of my life. If you don't agree, I will. So what? Shui interrupted her. You don't even cherish your own life. Have you ever considered the feelings of those who care about you? However, Xiao Ruoan did not listen to him at all. Her eyes were red. You can't even agree to this small request of mine? Some fans in the livestream couldn't help but comment. Actually, Shingdi can agree first and coax her. Shui is a little too cold-blooded. How can she be reasonable at a time like this? Human lives were at stake. Does he even understand? Yeah, it's not a big deal to tell a white lie. I feel like this all is well year-round girl's mental state is quite unstable. It's better to lie to her first and then hand her over to the doctor for treatment. The group of people gestured in the air, as if they were the wisest and wisest ones. Suddenly, Xiao Ruoan slid her hand to her wrist. Just as the blade pierced her skin, Her wrist was grabbed by a pair of strong hands. Xiao Ruo and struggled with all her might. In her panic, she ended up stabbing Shusui's forearm. She screamed as if she had gone crazy and threw her phone away. Shusui remained calm and even indifferently took the fruit knife from her hand. His cold and fair skin was covered in blood. His voice was cold and very soft. "I'm sorry, but I can't lie to you. Because I have someone I like. I want to be a good person for her sake." Chapter 298. His hoarse voice was low and deep, but it made Xiao Ruoan's heart skip a beat. For a second, she even thought that Shusui would stab her in the heart with that knife. But it was only for a second. The man spun the knife casually, even more casually than he spun a pen. Then, he threw it far away. Clang, the fruit knife fell to the ground. The phone fell to the ground and the camera was facing the ground. The netizens in the livestream saw nothing but darkness. The more confused they were about the situation, the faster the comments flooded in. Did Shusui get stabbed? I only have one thing to say to the Sasserang fans. Die. Shusui Zai, please be safe. Cry. Cry. This woman is crazy. What's the point of threatening others with her own life? Shusui's voice was too soft, so no one except Xiao Ruoan heard it. Sai Chuanbai quickly joined forces with the other security guards to hold Xiao Ruoan down. The sound of police sirens could be heard from afar. Xiao Ruoan broke down completely. You like her? How can you like her? How is she better than me? She's just a cheap. Sai Chuanbai calmly stuffed her mouth with a rag he picked up. Xiao Ruoan was so angry that she rolled her eyes, but she couldn't say a word. Soon, Xiao Ruoan was taken away by the police, and her phone was also taken into the police car as evidence. The livestream was closed. In the last shaky scene, a slender figure was seen running towards Shusui. The netizens who stayed behind were still discussing enthusiastically. I'm curious how long she'll be locked up for this kind of behavior. At most, she'll be criticized and educated. What I'm more worried about now is whether someone will imitate her. Is that Xiong Yi who flashed by at the end? Sister Yi, hurry up and take a look at Shusui's arm. Am I the only one who thinks that the vase fairy is at fault this time? If she hadn't seduced Shusui, she wouldn't have angered all is well year round, and this wouldn't have happened. As soon as this comment was posted, it was rebutted by the netizens. Yes, you're the only one who thinks so. Dear, I suggest you go to the hospital to see a neurologist. Yes, whatever you say is right. Come, let's all wish it a safe journey. Candle, the manor. Xiangyi ran so fast that she was panting slightly when she stopped. She didn't have time to rest, but took off her thin sunscreen jacket to stop the bleeding on Shusui's hand. Then, she held Shusui's other hand. Let's go back and treat our wounds. Shusui let her hold her hand and followed behind her obediently. The coldness and ruthlessness she had shown when she faced Xiao Ruo and just now disappeared and was replaced by a gentle and lazy tone. Are you worried about me? Xiangyi blamed herself. I should have stayed with you. That way, I could have protected you. Shusui is really too delicate. Behind him, Sai Chuanbai was speechless. He seemed to be at a loss for words. Not to mention, Shusui had received an elite education when she was a teenager and was highly skilled in martial arts. Later on, when she filmed a martial arts movie, she also learned kickboxing from a world-class coach. Logically speaking, she should have been able to dodge that blow just now. Sai Chuanbai seriously suspected that his artiste was trying to scam him. He overheard the conversation between the two of them. Sister Yi, it hurts a little, the man said in a feeble tone. The girl coaxed him softly, shall we have stewed goose in a pot later? The man chuckled and said, sure Tilda. Chapter 299. In the living room. Xiangyi took out the first aid kit and cleaned Shusui's wound before carefully disinfecting it. Fortunately, the wound wasn't deep and it was just a flesh wound. It was just that he was bleeding profusely. Xiangyi looked up at him and asked, do you want to take some painkillers first? I think I can endure it for a while longer. It's okay, you don't have to endure it. Sai Chuanbai was speechless. Why did I come in? I'm just applying some medicine. What kind of nonsense is that? Xiangyi said softly, actually, I'm a little hard of hearing. If you want to cry, I won't be able to hear anything. Shi Sui blinked and stared at her for a few seconds before looking at Sai Chuanbai. It was as if he was asking, why are you still here? Sai Chuanbai was dressed in an elite black suit. He sat upright and still, but deep down, he was thinking, he was definitely not going to let her cook him a stewed goose today. Cough, I'm not that hard of hearing either. I've never scored full marks for an English test. The famous manager was forced to admit that he was hard of hearing. Xiangyi took out some painkillers and was about to pass them to Shi Sui when he opened his mouth calmly and said, like a child asking for candy. The young girl instinctively stuffed the pills into his mouth. Her fingertips brushed against his thin lips. It was cool and moist to the touch. She curled her fingers uncomfortably and lowered her head to continue bandaging his wound. After a while, Shi Sui said, Sister Yi, it still hurts a lot. Xiangyi was worried. This painkiller won't take effect that quickly. Why don't I think of another way? The man's dark eyes gradually darkened. Like a cat, his gaze shifted to her lips, as if he was sleeping. Sai Chuanbai was speechless. Why was his artiste more delicate than his little wife? Back then, she could still finish filming with a smile even when she broke a bone. How could she not be able to tolerate this pain? He watched as Xiangyi carefully inserted a few needles into his wound. Are you feeling better? Much better. Xiangyi was relieved. She patted his head and said, have a good rest. I'll make you something to eat. Unexpectedly, when she walked towards the small outdoor kitchen, Shi Sui followed behind her like a little tail. Xiangyi? Shi Sui's expression did not change. I want to do a live stream and explain to my fans so that they don't have to worry. Xiangyi suddenly understood. You're so thoughtful. Should I call director Li over for you? When it came to live streaming, Li Jianyu was still the most skilled. Shi Sui raised her hand and hooked the hem of the girl's shirt with her fair and slender fingers. But I won't be streaming alone. I want to do it with you, Sister Yi. Sai Chuanbai. He raised his hand to his forehead to hide his dumbfounded expression. He really couldn't bear to look at her. Oh, I see. Xiangyi didn't think it was a big deal. After all, Shi Sui was a fragile man. Let's do it together then. As a result, today's episode of Two Under One Roof began airing in advance. Dear viewers and friends, don't pass by. Today's menu, stewed goose in an iron pot. The main ingredient is a goose. That's it. Li Jianyu was particularly mischievous and got the cameraman to take a picture of the white goose that was still strolling around carefreely. The white goose was bold and took a domineering stride towards the cameraman. It tilted its head and asked, quack? The pop-up comments, hurry, run. Ah, danger, danger, danger. I feel like reciting a poem at this moment. Goose, goose, goose. Cut its neck with a knife, pluck its feathers and boil it in water. Stewed goose in an iron pot. Chapter 300. In the next second, a pair of fair and slender hands seemed to have appeared out of thin air and mercilessly picked it up. It's so fat, it'll definitely be very fragrant when stewed, the girl commented in a gentle voice. The netizens were dumbfounded. What? Little fairy, why are you saying the cruelest things in the most gentle tone? Goose, cause of death. Too fat, how many times have I told you? If you're too fat, you'll be eaten. I'm shivering in front of the screen as I munch on duck neck and drink milk tea. The big white goose, which was extremely ferocious and had a heartless mouth, met Xiangyi, who was even more heartless. It screamed as it was taken away. The cameraman even took a long shot of Xiangyi as she walked away, looking as if she didn't care about anyone else. A few minutes later, the goose was taken away. The process was too gory, so by the time everyone saw the goose, it was already lying naked on the chopping board. The netizens were very mischievous. Goose, you're all cheap. You're all craving for my body. This show is so delicious. It's so interesting. I'm going to record the recipe now. The goose's life was short and glorious, ordinary yet great. It passed away peacefully. There were also a few haters who complained. I feel so bad. Goose is so cute. Why do you have to eat goose? Why must you eat goose? Are you that greedy? That's a life we're talking about. Girls should be gentle and virtuous. Slaughtering small animals is too cruel. The vase fairy is so cold-blooded. The netizens' response to this was, "Don't look at the idiot." Because it was time for everyone's happy mukbang. The fresh goose meat was cut into small pieces, and water was added to the pot to boil the meat. Scallions, ginger, garlic, dried chili, orange peel, and cilantro were cut and set aside. She then heated up the oil and added the goose meat for stir-frying. She then added the old soy sauce and cooking wine and stir-fried them evenly. At this point, the aroma of the goose meat had already spread. The staff at the scene couldn't help but take a few deep breaths and subconsciously began to salivate. Xiangyi added an appropriate amount of water to the pot and simmered it with firewood. The goose meat would be simmered for about 40 minutes before adding the side dishes. This was the perfect time to interact with Shui's fans. The little girl looked up at Shui. The two of them had a tacit understanding. Shui immediately said, "As you can see, the goose has been stewed." Upon hearing his voice, some fans immediately asked about his situation. Li Jianyu asked the staff to bring over a tablet so that he could better see the comments of the netizens in the live broadcast room. "I'm sorry to have made everyone worried. My injuries are not serious and have been treated." "It's true. I'm not lying to you." Shui smiled. "Liars have long noses." The fans in the live broadcast room were excited by his smile. "Ah, Shengdi, don't laugh like that. Too flirtatious, too flirtatious. My legs are turning to jelly. Who can resist this? The sense of immersion is so strong, I feel like I'm already on my way to getting married to Shui. What do you think of all is well year-round's behavior?" Shui muttered to himself. Xiangyi, who was behind him, naturally handed him a small stool, and he took the opportunity to sit down. He sat upright and had a noble temperament, as if he shouldn't be in this smoky kitchen. He restrained his smile and spoke with a sincere and serious attitude. There's nothing wrong with liking someone, and this kind of feelings shouldn't be trampled on. Everyone has the right to like someone, and similarly, they also have the right to not like someone. Please don't turn your personal liking into a burden for others. Chapter 301. Following Shui's low voice, the live stream. Boo-hoo, this man is so gentle. From the beginning to the end, he didn't define all is well year-round as an obsessive fan. He probably wants to save the other party some face. QAQ, he can still be so calm and composed when he's being harassed and hurt. Seriously, even if he's pretending, I love Shengdi's worldview. Someone noticed that Xiangyi was busy sitting on a small stool next to her and commented out of curiosity, not expecting Shui to be the one to pick her up. "What's Sister Yi doing?" "She's picking peas." The camera turned to Xiangyi, who cooperated. "I'm going to make pea cakes." Li Jianyu, "Oh? You can make this yourself?" Xiangyi, "Yes, but it's a bit time-consuming." Normally, she wouldn't make this, but Xiangyi liked it. So it was worth it to spend some time. Shui drawled lazily, "Sister Yi, everyone has a lot of questions for you." However, he refused to say what the questions were. What did they ask? The tablet was in Shui's hands and the comments flew by. In order to get a better look, Xiangyi unknowingly drew closer to him. In the camera, their heads were almost touching. The couple fans who hadn't eaten sweets for a few days were extremely excited. "Ah, sisters, I'll give you a salute first. I'll say it again, untimely as said D. It's true, sitting on a small stool in a row and reading the comments head to head. Shui's sister Yi is so cute." Seeing the words untimely, Xiangyi's ears began to heat up. She began to think of the content that Nan had shown her before. You want to know the recipe? I'll write down the details later and post it on Weibo. Xiangyi picked out the questions seriously. She wanted to ignore the words untimely, but the man next to her suddenly said something. Untimely? Isn't that an idiom?" The tone of this sentence was innocent, and the expression was blank. It could be said that she was naive and sweet. "Xiangyi," she hummed dryly and pretended to be very serious as she continued to pick the beans. Bullet screen. "Ha ha ha, I bet Sister Yi knows the true meaning of untimely. Hehe, it's obvious that the vase fairy is leading the hype. Poor Shengdi, he's been kept in the dark so miserably. What a joke. This is the first time I've seen a CP fan dance in front of the main character. Do they have brains? I'm just asking if it's awkward. The next second, Shui took out his phone. Because his right forearm was injured, he had to use his left hand to type, so his typing was a little slow. However, oh tilde, so it's a combination of our names. Shui clicked her tongue. There's a superscript. I'll go in and take a look. Xiangyi. The little girl's expression changed slightly, losing her usual calmness. You, don't look, it was too late. Shui looked at it. Not only did he look at it, but he also commented in real time. This Q version of the character is quite cute. Cut the video of the sweet exploding your girlish heart, self-made untimely emoji pack. Follow the comments to receive it. On Weibo, Shui's Weibo account, there was the following update: Shui V has followed the superscript, untimely. Come and play with me. Shui V has checked in with the superscript, untimely, for a day in a row. Come and check in with me. Shui V has contributed all the points to the superscript, untimely. Come and hit the leaderboard with me. The netizens were speechless. Chapter 302. The netizens were dumbfounded. In particular, the netizens who did not watch the livestream began leaving comments on Shui's Weibo account. Could it be that his account was hacked? Shui, I'm rooting for myself and Sister Yi to be a couple. It's fine that he's following them, but why is he still voting? The netizens who were watching the show played the role of popularizing the situation. Shui and Xiangyi are doing a livestream together. When interacting with the fans, Shui saw that someone mentioned that it was inappropriate for them to be together. Hence, she searched for it and even paid attention to it. This man is so good at variety shows. I'm impressed. There were also some who whispered and questioned, is it really for variety shows? I feel like he's more into it than I am. Of course, the Shui sisters were adamant that it was for variety shows. Before Shui's official announcement was made, they would never give Xiangyi a proper status. In the small kitchen, the aroma of the stewed goose meat was already wafting out of the iron pot. Xiangyi had also added some Chinese herbs such as ginger, grass, nutmeg, and so on. The faint aroma of the herbs blended perfectly with the aroma of the meat, making it seem like a living immortal. However, Xiangyi's mind was not on the dishes at all. She couldn't help but ask, I heard that it's a CP. CP means couple. So? Shui asked calmly as he looked her in the eye. Her rhetorical question made Xiangyi dumbfounded. Am I making a mountain out of a molehill? Shui seems to be just surfing the internet for fun. It shouldn't be a big deal to follow him. If Sang Chen or Xiong Li were present, they would definitely be able to tell that Shui was up to no good. That's a skill that can fool people. Xiangyi successfully brainwashed herself and completed her logic. I'm rooting for myself. It seems quite fun. In the livestream, Sister Yi's expression changed from confusion to determination. I'm dying of laughter, Xiongyi, don't be fooled by that old fox. You're not allowed to date. Mama, no. Newbie, what kind of lame show is this? First, it stews a goose, and now it's knocking itself on the head. I can't take it anymore, I'm going to join the update list. The entire live broadcast room was filled with ha 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 laughter. #untimely and #Shui's #1 fan were also trending. The popularity of the hot topics had skyrocketed, and Shui and Xiangyi had also gained a lot of fans. South City, at a dinner party. Qin Wanyan drank with him for half a day, thinking that she could get some resources from the variety show. Although it was only a flying guest for one episode, this was a national-level variety show. Everyone, from the elderly to the elementary and middle school students, loved to watch it. However, she only went to the bathroom to touch up her makeup. When she returned, she saw the director and the others laughing at their phones. Ha ha ha, Shui is so funny. This female artist is also funny. Her name is Xiangyi. I've been following two under one roof. She's quite versatile. She can play musical instruments, she can also practice medicine, and she's a great cook. Oh, in that case, she's quite suitable for our variety show. Seeing that the resources were about to go to Xiangyi, Qin Wanyan clenched her fists and said softly, Xiangyi, I know her. She used to be good friends with me, but she's been ignoring me ever since she became famous. The director frowned. Qin Wanyan took the opportunity to fan the flames. She's been entangled with many male artists. I have screenshots here. While showing the screenshots to the director and the others, Qin Wanyan said, to use a popular phrase, she's a sea queen. Chapter 303. In the past year, Xiangyi had sent her a lot of screenshots of their chats. Qin Wanyan had specially created a folder and saved all the pictures. Qin Wanyan was actually very disdainful of Xiangyi. She was clearly the daughter of a wealthy family, but she was a love-struck fool who couldn't help but flirt with good-looking boys whenever she saw one. However, she seemed to have reached an agreement with a mysterious person that forbade her from dating or having any intimate relations with boys. Hence, she only dared to touch the hands of other boys, such as Yang Nai and Xiao Yang. Yang Nai has also been harassed by her before. He's the son of Yang Zhenhua, director Yang. Later on, he was traumatized. Xiao Yang from the Xiao family has also been taken advantage of by her, with the chat records as evidence, coupled with the names of the two people mentioned by Qin Wanyan. The faces of the director and the others became more and more sullen. Seeing this, Qin Wanyan ruthlessly revealed a piece of shocking news. The most exaggerated thing is that she once climbed into her own brother's bed. In an instant, there was an uproar. In the live stream of Two Under One Roof, the steaming hot stewed goose was out of the oven. The golden goose meat was scooped into a porcelain white soup bowl. After several hours of stewing, the meat was soft and the bones were peeled off. With a gentle pinch of chopsticks, the bones and meat were easily separated. There were also cut potatoes and carrots in it, which added to the color of the dish. After taking a whiff, the aroma overflowed. After taking a bite, the aftertaste was endless. Along with a few light vegetarian dishes, a sumptuous meal was ready. The netizens were about to cry. Goose, you died so tragically. My tears are flowing from the corners of my mouth. My takeout hasn't arrived yet. I'm crying so hard. I'm dying, I'm dying. The only bag of instant noodles left at home has expired for several months. Can I still eat it? I'm waiting online. It's urgent. This meal is too sumptuous. Sister Yi, I'm hurting all over. Can you send me a portion by express delivery? Or send me to your house by express delivery? Xiangyi was about to wake up Yang Nai, but he woke up first. Because he was at home, the man was no longer wearing formal clothes. Instead, he had changed into black silk home clothes. His movements were calm and elegant, and as soon as he entered the camera, he captured the attention of countless people. What the F***CK? Is this the new guest? Man, you've successfully attracted my attention. I want all his information in 5 minutes. Those legs, that waist, I vaguely saw abdominal muscles just now. They're so tough. This rice is so handsome. Cough, this brother smells so good. Cough cough, this beauty is a feast for the eyes. The ancients didn't lie. Found it. I used the image recognition function to find him. The founder of Lin Chen law firm, Sang Chen. Wait, the last time Professor Xiong Li came, Xiangyi seemed to call him second brother. Could this Sang Chen be big brother? There was a lot of discussion in the live stream. Sang Chen had already calmly sat down. He seemed to be unintentionally separating Xiangyi and Shui from each other. The temperament of a domineering brother protecting his sister was firmly grasped. Sai Chuanbai didn't care. He picked up a piece of goose meat and stuffed it into his mouth. The tender and fragrant goose meat had a pure taste. It was fragrant but not greasy, and had a faint herbal aroma. It tasted so good. Delicious. It's so delicious. Sai Chuanbai rarely lost his composure. Shui also nodded gently, indicating that it tasted good. Sang Chen was the only one who said indifferently, it's just SOSO. Immediately, a netizen pointed out, this is the first time the vase fairy has failed. This man is definitely not her biological brother. Chapter 304. This comment garnered the approval of many people. I'm so annoyed by vase fairy's brainless praises. So every man is your brother. Don't you think Seong-yi is like a white lotus who had a bunch of brothers when she was in school? Wake up, Sang Chen is a top financial lawyer in the country who only takes on IPO cases. The truly impressive lawyers don't even have to appear in court to earn tens of millions of yuan in commission. Is Seong-yi worthy of him? Why does she get all the good things? Most people felt that Sang Chen was likely to be Seong-yi's brother, but they couldn't resist the logical analysis of the haters and their confident tone, causing many people to waver. Well, Seong-yi's brothers included an esports guru, an international fashion designer, a genius medical doctor, and a top financial lawyer. How could it be possible? At the dining table, Seong-yi tasted the goose meat and frowned slightly. It seems a little out of place with a few spices mixed together, but that's not right. I've mixed them like this before. Sai Chuan-bai was speechless. Are you serious, Miss Seong-yi? Are you that strict with your culinary skills? To him, this was already a delicacy that he would only get to eat a few times in his life. God knows how much he wanted his artiste to marry Miss Seong-yi. Even if he couldn't marry her, he might as well marry into her family. He was willing to be Miss Seong-yi's manager in the future, as long as he could have such a meal occasionally in the future. Sang Chen said indifferently, mushroom. Seong-yi immediately understood. Ah, I see. Shi Sui said thoughtfully, is there a conflict between spices? Sai Chuan-bai was speechless. He was a top manager, but at this moment, he felt like he was the only one in elementary school who didn't know anything. His dumbfounded expression was so hilarious that Li Jianyu shamelessly asked the photographer to take a few more close-up shots of him. However, Li Jianyu was indeed curious. What's going on, Sister Yi? Seong-yi said, mushrooms are rich in glutamic acid, which is an acidic amino acid. They have a unique taste and can be dissolved in water. This is one of the reasons why mushroom soup is so delicious. However, it conflicts with the seasoning, so the soup tastes a little strange. She tasted it carefully, then picked out a piece of Chinese medicine seasoning and made a judgment. It should be this. Li Jianyu, let me have a taste. I won't believe you if you don't have proof. Bullet screen. I suggest everyone type the words shameless old thief on the public chat. Seong-yi served him a bowl of stewed goose. Li Jianyu tasted it and his eyes widened. Such delicious food, I can swallow it whole. What was strange about it? He finished the meat and potatoes in 2 or 3 bites and drank the soup in a huff. He shamelessly said, it's too little. I can't taste anything. Give me another bowl. The bullet screen was instantly flooded with, I've never seen such a shameless director. Is it that magical? Lawyer Seong's taste is too picky. Seong-yi's taste buds are so strong. She can actually guess which seasoning it is with just one taste. Who knows if it's true or not? Maybe she's just making things up. Who knows if she's bragging? Toxic. If it's not delicious, why would director Li, Shi Sui, and Sai Chuan-bai enjoy it so much? I think in some people's eyes, Sister Yi's existence is the original sin. Everything she does is wrong. Vase Fairies fans, stop trying to scare her. There's a new melon that you've cooked on Weibo. Open it and you'll be surprised. Hey.